I want you guys to listen closely to me just for a couple of seconds. I just want to say thank you to all of the subscribers and followers, both old as well as new. If you consider yourself a part of the MT Army or if you consider yourself an MTandR, thank you. I want you to enjoy watching this best of content from the channel from 2024. Happy holidays, everybody, and let's get active.
Miss Botnick, why is it that you want the house sold?
Well, Jody mentioned that as well
I
because
didn't ask what he did. I asked, why do you want it sold?
Or my client could answer the question.
So moving on, she actually addresses right here the allegations that she's cheating on her husband.
So you are also communicating with another gentleman now, aren't you?
I have a friend that I text, but I'm not.
A male friend?
Yes.
That you are anticipating and romantically texting, correct?
He lives in Chattanooga, so
I didn't ask where he lives.
Okay, well, no, we don't talk like that.
You don't
He
talk
said support a friend because I'm going through this and I need a friend. And I don't have a lot of girlfriends that really care, so I'm reaching out to him as a...
We're going to subpoena your text records from him.
Oh.
And I'm asking you right now, we've already established that you embellish or tell falsehoods. And I'm asking you right now to create a record because we have a court reporter. They are not romantic in nature. Is that correct? Yes or no?
We don't really talk like that over text.
Yes or no?
message.
Not
I
to
guess
the
I just
point
don't
of-
look at it that way.
Not what y'all are going to do when your divorce is over. Can't wait to see him. And so you are not romantically involved with anybody.
I did sleep with him. But we don't talk about it.
Look at, look at.
You understand, I called you as a witness first, and I asked you if you were seeing anybody, didn't I?
I'm not seeing him. He lives in
Oh,
Chattanooga.
you just having sex with him?
Yeah.
I had sex with him twice.
Why? Oh, I did sleep with him. Now I have
But we
slept with
don't
him
text
multiple
about
times.
He lives in Chattanooga. I slept with him twice.
Right. Where?
And 2 times in a hotel.
Oh,
Where?
One time in a hotel, one time in a hotel.
Where?
you're still married.
First time was Nashville. Second time was in Murfreesboro.
Oh, you traveling around the country for
He
dick.
did.
So you're looking for somebody else to start taking care of?
Yeah.
No, I don't want him. We don't even really talk now because I thought I was going to work it out with my husband.
For today's video, I want you guys to step into the courtroom, to the divorce courtroom. Family law is crazy. Now, there's a lot more information on the internet today for men to become accustomed to what can happen if a divorce happens, which happens in 50% of all marriages within the United States. And oftentimes we hear how negative it can be for a man. So in the court case that I have for you guys here today, you will be floored. This guy chose the absolute wrong woman to marry. 3 baby fathers for 3 children, was pregnant when he proposed, and 3 months after she popped the baby out, married her. This one is a damn doozy, but make sure you watch the entirety of this video so you can learn more about something that 50% of all married people may go through. Without further ado, let's get it in.
Joseph Tootle versus Jordan Lindsay Balkneck.
Your Honor, if I could, I'm here on behalf of my client, Mr. Joseph Tootle. We filed a complaint for absolute divorce in this matter. It's a very, very short-term marriage. The parties were just married in September of 2023.
Okay.
And what we have, Your Honor, is that the crux of this case and really the only asset of this marriage comes down to the parties prior to their marriage purchased a home at 1047 Yellow Creek Highway. My client put down a significant down payment on the home. Well, the down payment was put prior to the marriage, and the purchase was right after the parties married. The property is approximately between $700,000 and $800,000 home, has a significant mortgage on it. What we're asking, Your Honor, is for exclusive possession of the home. Mrs. Botnick, again, this is a short-term marriage. Mrs. Botnick has 3 children from prior relationships. In fact, she was with child at the time of the parties' marriage that is not my client's child.
What?
And she has just finished
was
another
pregnant?
custody matter with that child's father. And again, she's not contributing financially. They purchased a vehicle that she is driving, and we are asking that she and the children, and she's allowed her mother, Miss Carol Ledford, to move into the home also.
The mama's
So there's
there.
6 people cohabitating in this home, and my client is having to pay all of meet the financial responsibility of the home. So it's our request that she be ordered to vacate the premises, or in the alternative, given the fact that herself, her 3 children, and her mother are living there, that my client pays 1/6, and she pays 5/6 of all the expenses associated with the home. The home, again, we're going to have an issue. The home has just been purchased. It's very unlikely that there's significant equity. She is not in a position, it's our claim that she's not in a position to buy my client out of the home or get the home refinanced into her own name.
Okay.
But she is not contributing, and she has now begun having extramarital relations, and as a result of that, we want her out of the house.
Whoa. So let me just breathe on the track real quick. So this is what family court, this is what divorce court looks like. That is the man right there, the husband, hopefully soon to be ex-husband, and this is the wife. These are the 2 lawyers that are representing them. Now, the claims here are just insane. This sucker married her when it sounds like she had 3 kids. One was currently cooking at the point of marriage, does not make any money, moved her mama in, and is now cheating on him. Absolutely ridiculous work. But the information of interest is that down payment on home, which he wants her out of, and rightfully so if she's cheating. Down payment was made prior to marriage, but then the house wasn't closed on until they were married. This guy made so many mistakes, but let's proceed.
Your Honor, just briefly, parties were married September 4th, 2023. The home that they currently reside in was purchased, conveyed to both of them as husband and wife, Joseph Tootle and Jordan Bachnick, by warranty
He didn't even
deed
take his last name?
executed September 26, 2023. Recorded with the Register of Deeds, September 29th, 2023. The approximate purchase price was $800,000. 20% was paid down, which is approximately $160,000.
By the man. She ain't paid none of it. And her name's on the deed, I bet you.
Mr. Tootle makes a significantly higher income than Ms. Bachnick.
Okay.
With respect to the her children who live there, Mr. Tootle was fully aware that Ms. Bachnick had children when they married, fully aware that they would be moving into the residence. And with respect to Ms. Bachnick's mother, he agreed that she could move into the residence. Our position, Your Honor, is that the house is a marital residence. Mr. Tootle has significantly more income than Ms. Bachnick, and we have filed before the court today as a motion to sell the marital residence, and we would propose that upon its sale, the net proceeds be paid into court, and then we can proceed with the divorce.
Wow.
In that regard. But I would submit to the court there's no basis to grant Mr. Tootle exclusive possession of the marital home. Ms. Bachnick's name is on the deed. It's a marital asset, and submit that she's entitled to reside there just as much as he is.
Wow.
Right?
Then I would call Ms. Botnick.
This is what happens when you take on liabilities. She had all them dead kids and you said yes. She had no way to make significant income and you still said yes. She moved her mama in and you still said yes. You put her name on the deed.
State your name, please, ma'am.
Jordan Lindsay Bachnick,
And Ms. Botnick, where do you work?
Envision Healthcare.
And what do you do for Envision Healthcare?
I'm an AP specialist.
The hell is
And
that?
what,
Please scoot up a little bit toward that microphone
Sorry.
so we make sure it's picking
I'm
up.
an AP specialist.
and what does that mean?
Accounts payable. I work for the same company as Joseph.
And what is your rate of pay?
$22 an hour.
You work 40 hours a week,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have 3 children by how many different men?
3.
And how much child support do you get?
I get child support 1 kid and $697.
$697 for what child?
1 child. And I don't get child support from the other 2.
What child do you get the $190?
Sailor, the baby.
And who is Sailor's father?
Nick Ellis.
And that's your youngest child?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were in,
Not only was she a single mother, but she was a single mother 3x by 3 other different men. And you still said yes to all of that. This is why there's so much literature or so much media that expect men to be these altruistic, forever forgiving of a woman's past. Meanwhile, her past was the biggest red flag, but you submitted yourself to the red flag the size of Haley's comment. For what? Hopefully this man gets some justice here, but damn, did he walk into this situation.
were in fact pregnant with Saylor at the time that you married?
No,
Or right after you had just had the child?
I just had him. He was born in June and I got married in September.
Okay.
You proposed to a
And
woman
what
that was
sort?
pregnant with
you-
another man's
and
child.
you have just settled a lawsuit on paternity with Mr. Ellis?
Yes,
And when was that done?
February.
Disgusting work.
And what are the names and ages of your other children?
12 and 10. 12-year-old is Ryder. 10-year-old is Bryson.
How old are they?
Ryder is 12,
And Bryson is
10.
10.
And Sailor is 10 months,
10
almost.
months. When did your mother move into the home?
She started staying there in October.
October of 2023, right after y'all married in September, is that correct?
Right.
And what was the reason?
She was helping me with the kids, helping us with the kids.
How much does she pay to live there?
She helps with the kids, so in
She stays
return,
free.
she gets to stay there.
Okay, she helps with your children.
Right, that, yeah.
Okay.
This is crazy.
And so you're just giving her free room and
This guy's a
board?
pillow cushion.
For helping me watch the kids.
She
What
need
does
a
she do
job.
for a living?
She works at
Oh,
Walmart.
she works. She could afford her own crib.
So she's capable of paying something to
Yes.
live there.
Well, she's helping me watch the kids.
That wasn't the question.
In your lawsuit with Mr. Ellis, did you claim any work-related child care expenses?
Yes.
You did.
No, child care, what are you talking
Child
about?
care expenses, when you calculate
Why
child
when the
Oh,
mom's
no.
there?
you didn't
No.
claim any work-related child care expenses?
No.
Okay.
This was Nicholas Ellis.
It is.
Yes.
I know Mr. Nicholas Ellis. He grew up with my children. I haven't seen him or had any contact with him in the last 20 years probably. So I just want to make everyone aware of the fact that there is some connection. He played on a soccer team with my son and
Yes, sir.
daughter for a while. If that creates a problem, I'll be glad to address that.
We waive any conflict, Your Honor.
All right.
At the point in time, did you admit to your husband that you only married him for financial security?
No.
You sure about that?
Yes.
That's your statement under oath?
Yes.
Did you threaten, at the point in time when he told you he wanted a divorce, did you threaten to throw yourself against the wall so that you could get an order of protection and kick him out of the house?
No.
You allowing your children have you allowed any of your minor children to operate any motor vehicle in and around the property?
I let my son drive down the driveway.
And he ran over shrubs and things, is that correct?
One shrub.
And that's your 12-year-old or your 10-year-old?
I let my 10-year-old.
Your 10-year-old's driving a vehicle that caused some slight damage to the property, is that
He
correct?
drove down the driveway and ran over a shrub.
Did you replace it?
No, not yet.
Okay. Do you allow your children to shoot arrows into the drywall of the
No.
home? You didn't sit there and videotape it and laugh
I
at it?
videotaped my son shooting an arrow into a cardboard box.
Not into the garage and damaging the property?
No.
Where are your children in school?
Ryder is in middle school.
Your Honor, I want to object to relevance. I mean, we're here for a motion for exclusive possession, and we're getting into, almost like we have a parenting plan. These children
Well,
are.
no, Your Honor, I apologize. The pact is financially, where are the children in school, the issue we want her to move, where the kids are going to school, whether they're homeschooled, whether they're in public school, how she's spending her money is the reason that I'm asking those questions.
Unfortunately, parties, even on a short-term marriage, bring something before the court regarding financial matters. Every aspect of their life becomes fair game. Overruling objection.
So where are they in school?
Good job, Judge.
Ryder's in middle school at Dixon Middle. Bryson is at Oakmont, and Sailor's a baby.
And your mother stays home and keeps him?
Yes.
Okay.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays because I have to go into the office.
And then otherwise you work from home?
Yes.
And where is the office located?
In Green Hills.
You have health insurance coverage through your employer?
I did. I have dental. I used to have dental. I haven't checked on
Who
that.
covers your children for health insurance?
The state.
You make $40,000 a year, live in a $700,000 home, and your children are on TennCare?
Objection leading.
Adverse witness.
Adverse witness rule.
I don't think she's been established as an adverse witness. She's answering all Ms. Roberts' questions. She called her on
She's the
direct.
adverse party, so I'm going to assume or take judicial notice of the fact that an adverse party is an adverse party for purposes of the adverse party rule. Overrule.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It's not on Families First. When was the last, are they on Families First?
No.
They're just on TennCare.
Right.
When did you apply for TennCare?
Whenever I was single.
Beg pardon?
When I was single and not married. So it was prior to marriage that they were on it.
And have you updated it?
No, not yet.
Did you disclose that you had the availability of health insurance through your employer for your children?
No.
You still receiving food stamps too?
No.
When did you stop getting food stamps?
Several months ago.
When?
October, November.
November of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it time for you to re-up for your food stamps?
Yes. And I didn't qualify.
And you did not qualify, but you applied and tried to continue to get food stamps,
No,
correct?
I did not.
Well, how'd you know you didn't?
You did
apply?
not fill out an application?
No, I did not fill out an application.
Have you contributed to the house payment?
No,
Why not?
because I'm paying for everything else.
What is everything else that you're paying for?
Groceries to stay in the house, and I pay for all my kids, groceries, clothes, and I filled out a form, basically showing what I do pay for.
Pay any of the utilities?
No,
Pay any insurance on the vehicle you're driving?
yes,
You pay for your insurance
I pay for my insurance
and your vehicle?
on
What
my
kind of-
vehicle,
What kind of vehicle are you driving?
a Tahoe.
2021 Chevy Tahoe?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much are the payments on that?
A little over 1,000.
Who's making those payments?
I am.
When did you start making those payments?
2 months ago. I've made 3 payments so far, so 3 months now.
When did you purchase that vehicle?
August 22nd of 23.
You acknowledge that the down payment on the home came from his separate funds, do you not?
I'm going to object. That calls for a legal conclusion.
I'm sorry?
I object. That calls for a legal conclusion as to what separate funds are.
I'll rephrase the question. Did you have any money when the contract was made on this house?
I had my own money.
How much did you have?
At the time, I don't recall how much I had.
Did you pay $160,000 down on this house?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
No, I didn't put money down on the
Okay,
house.
why did you say you don't recall?
Well, to your question before that,
Objection asked and answered.
no, I did not pay money on the house.
You know that your husband had money that he put down on this house that was not your money.
Right. After we were married, though, he paid money on the house.
And he paid for your attorney for your paternity actions too, didn't he?
He helped pay for my attorney with Nick.
And how much was that?
Object. I think that's privileged.
Object on what basis?
Privilege? I mean, the third party may have paid it. They're married.
And you're talking about the attorney-client privilege?
Yeah, number one, I don't think it's relevant.
Now we're talking relevance instead of privilege.
Well, Judge, I think what a client pays an attorney and the third party pays it,
I understand your point, Mr. Odle. And again, we're talking economics of two people who have been married for a short period of time. You will be able to ask questions of him regarding any expenditures he's made. And my understanding is that these questions are being asked to demonstrate the financial contributions each of them have made to the household. Because one of the motions that we have before the court today is a motion for exclusive possession of the marital residence, and that entails who's going to pay the mortgage for that. There's also a motion for a temporary division of marital debt, which is on the docket. So all of these issues are relevant on the issues that are before the court. So she's not required to testify about any direct conversations that she may have with her attorney. But the question of if there were marital funds or his separate funds that were used to pay for her attorney, then for whatever relevance, whatever weight that is, I think it is relevant on the issue before the court.
Please repeat the question.
Who paid for your attorney?
Joseph did.
Did you ask him to do that
He offered to help me out.
when you got sued?
I didn't get sued.
Did you file the paternity suit, or did Mr. Ellis sue you? Did you sue
We
him?
agreed upon it. I didn't get sued.
He didn't file a petition against you,
Yes.
so you got sued.
Okay, I didn't know that was being sued.
Yes, ma'am. He filed a petition to establish paternity, Mr. Ellis did,
Okay.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you asked your husband for help in securing counsel for that, is that correct?
He offered.
Have you ever contributed anything to
Notice how her lawyer is trying to do everything in his power to either weaken or lessen the impact of his financial contributions on the marriage, within the marital assets, which is so ridiculous, just as the judge said, because they're trying to determine what happens with the house. There's a motion to sell the house, the one that he paid $160,000 for down payment on his own dime and has been paying mortgage payments for the last several months. All types of alarm bells should be going off in your head, because there is an actual consideration for that to happen when they've been married for less than a year.
other than paying for your children's food? Have you ever contributed anything to the mortgage, to the utilities, to the down payment on this house,
No, only
or the
herself.
payment of insurance or taxes on this house at all?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's all.
Sir, you may question your client.
What she made was for her.
Mr. Ogle, you want to ask her questions now, or you want to wait?
What he made was for the family.
Yeah, I'm gonna call her on the number.
All right, now you can say.
Sorry.
And I would call Mr. Tootle.
Ogle, if you'll come forward.
Okay. I gotta hear from this guy.
Raise your right hand, be placed under oath.
State your name for me, please, sir.
Joseph Tootle.
And Mr. Tootle, you married Ms. Erin Botnick back in September of 2023, is that correct?
That's correct.
How long had you known her prior to y'all's marriage?
Roughly 7 years.
And do y'all work at the same
We do.
company?
We do.
And what is your role at the company, at Envision?
I'm VP of Accounting Information Systems.
Were you her direct supervisor?
No,
And y'all became acquainted through your employment, is that correct?
I knew her prior to employment. I helped her get the job.
Okay. How
What?
did you know her prior to the employment?
I met her at her work when she worked at Twin Peaks.
At where?
Twin Peaks
And you got her the
Twin
job.
Peaks is a bar
Bar and
She's at a
Restaurant.
bar. Okay.
restaurant, and we'll just leave it, why the name of that, but at any rate.
Is it a strip
You
club?
met her there and got her a job. Did y'all start a romantic relationship at that point in time?
I helped her get a job probably about 2 years ago. We kind of hung out some in between there, from time of meeting till she got the job at our company.
And when did y'all become romantically involved?
Throughout the time I've known her, different instances.
And she was having relations with other people during that time too, particularly?
Jackson leading.
Correct.
And you,
Well, the question is,
Why did you marry her?
sustained, it was leading, restate your question.
are you aware of whether or not, did y'all have an exclusive relationship?
We did not.
At what point in time did marriage come into the picture?
Roughly somewhere in July, after she had her child.
Okay. Did you ask her to marry, or was it just a, hey, let's do this? I mean, what was the?
We decided to date, and then as we started dating, we decided that after knowing each other for a period of time, that was the right move to make at that time, because she stated she was in love and wanted to be with me.
Oh, God, Disney got him. That face right there is, they lied to me. They told me marriage was about love. You sucker. Oh, I feel so bad for you, my G. I feel so goddamn bad. You met her at the Twin Peaks. What? That's the script club, more than likely, allegedly. You got her a job. You pay for all of her shit. You move her in, you buy a home, you get married to her, her mama moves in. As soon as she spits out the child, you got up on bended knee for love? Oh.
And as a result of that, where were you living at the time?
In Franklin
And where was she living?
and Dixon.
And did she have a home?
She had an apartment.
And did you have a home?
I did.
One that you owned?
No, sorry, I was in an apartment as well.
Okay, you rented and she rented. is
She
that
rented and I
correct?
rented, correct.
Okay. And so y'all decided to get in, she professed her love and you hers, and y'all decided to get married, and did you start looking for a place to live?
Started looking for a place prior to that. Somewhere in July, we talked about looking for a place, so we were looking prior to being married.
Okay. And you found a home on Yellow Creek Highway?
Correct.
Okay. And it's a very nice home. And y'all purchased it. Did you enter into a contract prior
And
to?
don't leave it with us.
When did you enter into a contract to purchase the property?
In August, and I put down earnest money in August.
How much did you put down?
It's $10,000 in earnest money
And then when was the closing scheduled?
for September 26th,
And y'all married when?
September 4th.
And on the 26th, was there a closing on that piece of property?
Correct, there
Was
was.
it placed in joint names?
Yes,
Was there money put down on the house?
roughly 160 plus the 10,000
And where was the source of that money?
came from my income. 120 was in savings, 40 I took a loan against my 401k.
Is there still a loan on the 401k?
Yes,
You took out a loan.
comes out of
for
my
a gold
paycheck.
digger.
How much did y'all purchase the home for?
It was 760,
And what is the monthly payments?
4,200. That doesn't include insurance and taxes.
And that's going to be my next, was insurance and taxes escrowed in?
It was not escrowed in.
So other than when you purchased it in September, the down payment that you made, are you familiar with any other increases in value or any improvements to the property that's been made that would increase it significantly from what the purchase price was?
There's been no improvements to the property.
Did both of you sign the mortgage?
I'm the only one on the mortgage.
Both of you on a
You know
deed,
why?
but you were only on the mortgage.
It was better to qualify for interest rate under my income than using both.
So even though
That's
the
what-
house is
God,
in
you
joint
walked into
names,
a
the
movie
mortgage
truck.
is only in your name?
Correct,
Damn.
Now, do you know how much she makes?
roughly,
What is that?
around 22. I think when she got the job it was around 21, and there's been raises since then.
And how much do you make, sir?
Around to 190,
You've assisted me,
and
in-
that's without bonus, but bonus isn't guaranteed, so
you have assisted me in filling out an income and expense statement, is that correct?
that's correct.
Would you pass this to him? The officer's going to pass you one, and Your Honor, we'll mark this for ID purposes at this point in time.
All right.
Could you review that? Does that adequately and reflect what what your income and your expenses are?
Yes,
So again, what you're looking at is you gross about $14,000 a month, is that right?
yes,
And then the expenses that are spelled out, the rent, the mortgage is $4,200, is that correct?
that's correct.
And how did you come up with the utilities? Are those just an average of what?
That was the average of what we'd had thus far, but again, this was in January, so there's only a couple of months to average it.
Right, so again, you've got the electricity and the gas, you have gas heat, correct?
We have gas, electric, water, yes.
Okay, and so again, with the summer and the air conditioning things, those are likely to go up, is that correct? Do you know
So
what
don't leave the with
I'll
us.
rephrase it. Do you think that these will be consistent or will they fluctuate?
Gas will probably go down, electric will probably go up.
Why have you got wife's telephone? Is that just
At
her?
the time I filed, I was paying her phone bill. She used my credit card multiple times after I'd paid it once to pay it.
And then again, the rest of these are average expenses, is that right?
That's right. And the only thing on here I haven't been paying is the Tahoe. I stopped paying it in January.
And that's the 1,050, and that's the vehicle
correct.
she's driving. Had you previously paid it?
I'd been paying it since we bought it.
And when was it purchased?
We purchased it in August.
Right before the marriage?
Right before the
Whose
marriage.
name is it in?
It's in both of our names because she couldn't qualify on her own for it
Okay. And so,
with a good interest rate.
okay. And so again, looking at that, you're basically barely breaking even if you take away the $1,000.
I was until she started paying her bills.
Okay. Until she started paying her bills. Okay.
My guess is that they live in a small town. That is proven by not only their accents, but then the judge is familiar with her baby daddy, her last baby daddy. So this man is making $200,000 per year in a small town, not including bonus, but because of love, because he puts this woman on a pedestal and wants to provide her the entire world, he is broke. This is what happens when you don't have boundaries. This is what happens when you are a wet noodle. This is what happens when you do not stand up for yourself as a man. This is what happens when you cannot say no. Thank God his wife stepped up to the plate to pay something of her own, her phone bill.
Tell me what's led to you Your Honor, we'll move that in as the next exhibit.
But she wants the land in the house.
First exhibit, is it not?
Yes, that first one. What's led to you filing this divorce, sir?
We started having issues in October, which was relatively shortly after being married. She even told me that her therapist and her had discovered that through their therapy that she wasn't really in love with me, and that she wanted consistency and stability for her kids.
Yeah.
And thought that she could love me over time. At that point in time, we talked about getting a divorce. We tried to work it out multiple times, and we kind of wound up back at the same spot.
Because she wants money.
So she had to go to therapy to figure out she didn't love you?
She wants
Objection leading.
an estate
Stand.
plan.
Has she contributed anything financially to this marriage?
Other than groceries for her and her kids, no.
What about has she made any threats towards you?
Multiple.
Tell me about those.
We got into an argument.
Verbal argument, physical argument, what?
Verbal argument. I'm not a physical person. And we talked about, in that argument, divorce came up, and she wanted me out of the house. She said she would throw herself against the wall and call the cops, say I did it. That was one occasion. Another occasion, she threatened, or she said she'd called the cops. So I said I'd come to the house, wait for the cops to get there. They never came. Recently, as 2 weeks ago, she said that she was going to call the cops, that I'd hit her in front of her 12-year-old, which obviously I didn't. So multiple times that's happened, to the point where I had to get a camera for the room I stay in.
Good.
To make sure that anything would be videoed to show that I'm not a
Violent.
physical person.
Right. Holy moly. Put cameras in
And-
your cribs.
Is she asking you to assist her with the children?
When the marriage was going okay, I helped take them to school. I helped buy food. I did multiple things.
And have you asked her have there been issues where there has been damage done to the marital residence at the hands of the children?
There have, and I was lied to about what had happened. Cabinet door was broken. She told me she fell holding the baby, and that's what broke the cabinet. Come to find out, the 12-year-old told me that he broke it. He didn't know that I'd been lied to about that. When I asked her about the tree in the front yard that got run over, she said she was driving. And then, of course, there's other things that have happened, but it's always implied that I'm going to pay to fix it.
Okay. If they've been, I may have misunderstood, are they shooting bows and arrows or something in?
He was shooting bow and arrow at in the garage at a box. But of course, accuracy is not always on, so there are multiple holes from that. Another thing that kind of got me a little bit, I came home one day, we were in a fight, and they were going to do a fire in the fire pit that we have, even though we were in the middle of a drought and a heavy windstorm. And when I said not to do it, I was told that not to talk to our kids all that day.
Did they?
They did not start the fire, thankfully.
So you have financial responsibility for these children, but you don't have father responsibility for these children. Imagine being in your own hold, held hostage by the woman that you married through the decisions, the choices that the children are making, and you being unable to do anything about it. This man simped his way to a horrible life based off of the symmetry in her face. Crazy.
You care for her children.
I do.
The fact of finding out that there's possibly untruths that are being told and that don't want her children put in the middle of that, do you?
Not at all.
Do you feel safe living there in the home while she's there?
I don't think she would do anything to me physically, but I do worry that if she were to have multiple threats, that at some point the threats are going to come true for her, saying that she'll call the cops and say I did something, which I would never do.
And how many occasions has she threatened that?
3 different. She's threatened to call the cops 4 times, but 3 of them she was trying to imply that I had done something.
Okay. And have you ever been physically physically abusive to her?
No,
You ever laid hands on her in any type of an aggressive or inappropriate manner?
no,
Her mother's living there.
correct.
Is she contributing anything financially?
She watches the kids and helps clean the house, but not them financially.
Was there a discussion about that prior to her moving in?
I was told she was coming to visit, and then after she'd been there for a little bit, she basically said that she was going to stay there through the winter because it's cold. She has a pull-behind trailer that she has property on, or she has
So
property
she
she
just
can put it
stayed.
on. But there was never really a formal discussion of how long she was going to be there.
The old coming to visit trick.
But is she bathing and fixing her meals and
Yes,
sleeping there?
yes,
Is she contributing anything to the utilities?
no,
Is your wife contributing anything to the utilities or to the upkeep and the maintenance of the home?
no,
Are you capable of maintaining the home and continuing to pay for it?
yes,
If the court determines that she's entitled to any equity as a result of it, do you have the availability to buy her out of whatever the court deems would be her appropriate share?
not at this time. It's all in the home.
Everything is in the home, is that correct?
That's correct. My entire down payment was.
Other than the threats and the non-contribution financially, is there any other reason why you want her and the children and her mother out?
No.
That's all. Thank you. Now, Mr. Odell's going to have some questions for you.
All right, so, Mr. Tootle, you've known Ms. Botnick for years.
Roughly 7 or 8.
You got married September 4th, 2023.
Correct.
You knew she had an infant child at that time, correct?
Correct.
You knew she had 2 other children, ages 12 and 10, correct?
Correct.
And you knew they would be residing in the house with you and your wife, correct?
Correct.
You did?
Yes, correct.
All right, so you didn't have a problem with that?
No.
And you testified that you like her kids?
Yes.
Now, with respect to her mother, you and Ms. Botnick had a conversation about her mother coming to live there, correct?
Coming to visit.
And then subsequently, you had a conversation about her mother continuing to stay there, and you agreed to it.
We agreed she could stay until winter was over.
So it's your testimony that you and Ms. Botnick had a discussion where you agreed that her mother would just come there for a very short period of time until winter. Is that your testimony?
Yeah, my testimony is that we talked about it. Being newlywed, I agreed to do it. Didn't want to upset my wife.
What did you specifically agree to? When was her mother supposed to move out?
They said after winter, so I'm assuming after winter is March, April.
Okay, but that's an assumption, isn't it?
It is an assumption.
After winter.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, but that's what they agreed to.
Do you like Ms. Botnick's mother?
I do. We get along.
Okay. So no issue there. You agree that she helps out the children and that you like the children.
Correct.
I want to talk about this shooting of a bow and arrow in the garage, okay? You testified that, who was it? Which child was it?
It was Ryder.
Okay. So, Mr. Tootle, do you have a copy of your income and expense statement you testified to? You have it in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. So you testified that you make gross approximately $190,000 a year.
That's salary without bonus. And bonus is
Okay.
not guaranteed though.
Okay, so you
So
make,
this is based on my guaranteed income.
okay, so you make more than $190,000?
Yes.
Okay.
On a good year.
Okay, well, let's talk last year. What was your bonus last year?
Bonus was 40% of my salary.
Okay, give me a number.
40% of 180 at the time. So I don't know, what's that? 70,000
So you got $70,000 bonus, so,
minus taxes. 35%.
okay, but you said 180,000 and a $70,000 bonus.
Right.
That's $250,000.
But I don't get it at the end of the year. Right.
Okay.
It's paid quarterly, just for the record.
When's the last time you didn't get a bonus?
Well, 40% is not what you get all the time. Sometimes you get 20%.
That wasn't my question. When's the last time you didn't get a bonus?
I haven't had it's been a couple of years.
So you didn't get a bonus 2 years ago?
I'm saying it's been years.
Years.
Right.
Okay, think a decade?
Maybe.
Okay. Mr. Tootle, every year you get a sizable bonus, don't you? You're under
Sizable,
oath.
yeah. Yeah. Sizable. Yeah.
So when you say bonus is not guaranteed, that's a little misleading, isn't it?
No, that's the terms of the bonus.
Okay.
Bonus is 40%.
For a
40% is if we hit max terms of the company.
Okay.
That's not misleading.
Your track record is that you've gotten bonus for years and years
Yes.
without fail, correct?
Mr. Odell, just to tell you, I don't control my bonus. It's based on company performance.
I understand you don't control it, but I'm asking you a question about
I get
the
it.
historic
Yes,
bonuses
I
you've
get,
received.
no, a payroll,
Fair to say you make $250,000 a year at least?
not every year.
Accurate statement. Income's not accurate.
Income's off by maybe, what, a couple $100?
He's not answering the question. His income.
When I said 180, that was based on salary alone.
Mr. Tootle, if you'd be quiet when we're talking, okay?
So, Your Honor, he has testified that last year he made a base salary of $180,000 plus a $70,000 bonus. He testified when Ms. Roberts was questioning him that his base salary is $190,000 with no guaranteed bonus. He said that he filled this statement out in January and.
Financial statement into evidence. It is an income and expense statement.
So, Mr. Tootle, I want to talk about the house, marital residence. You all closed on that house on September 26, 2023. Do you agree with me on that?
Yes.
I just want to provide to you a copy, asking to identify it.
Judge, we stipulate and agree, and it's been testified that the home is in joint names.
Judge, I would then ask the warranty deed to be
Just-
next exhibit.
All right, make the warranty deed Exhibit 2.
So, when you all got married, September 4th, you knew what your wife's income was, correct?
Yes.
She'd been fully transparent with you about the money she made.
There's one item that was not transparent, and that was she got income from her dad passing away. She told me it was roughly $700 a month that she was getting, which she now states she no longer gets.
Okay.
So yes, I knew. Outside of that, I didn't know child support. I know that one child, Bryson, was getting child support of roughly $700 a month from, but there was problems with it being paid.
Okay. Well, you knew that you made substantially more money than she did, correct?
Correct.
So you all bought this house in September of 2023, correct?
Correct.
And you knew when you bought it that you were the one that had the ability to pay the debt, correct?
Yeah, I do not, I planned on paying for
Yeah.
house and bills, but not her bills.
Okay, I'm talking about the mortgage payment, all
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, when you and she bought it and you all put her name on the deed because you wanted to jointly own the house, right? That was the intention.
The reason we put her on the house because we were being married, and I thought that it was going to be something that would last.
Dog wrong.
You made that decision.
Yes.
You wanted her name to be on the deed with you. You wanted to own this property together, correct?
Correct.
And this $700,000 to $800,000 house that you bought, you knew that it was being bought because you had the ability to pay for it, correct?
Correct. And I
You
thought
weren't
that,
relying upon this.
Yeah, and I get it. If he could finish his answer before Mr. Odle starts questioning him again.
Please let him answer the question fully before you begin answering.
Yeah.
Asking the next question.
yeah, the reason I put her on there, I thought that my money for the down payment would be considered a separated party going into it and coming out of it, only to learn that it's not, obviously.
Okay, so you agree that house is a marital asset, correct?
Yeah, I think
And
that's,
the equity in it is,
Yeah, again, calling for a legal conclusion, as Mr. Odle has pointed out earlier, and I would object for asking my client to draw a legal conclusion.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Objection, calling for a legal conclusion. Same objection that Mr. Odle made.
so the rule, John.
I overruled his objection. I thought I overruled his objection. State your question one more time, please.
Mr. Tootle, you agree that the equity in the house, that's a marital asset, correct?
if there is,
That's what I'm,
I think that does call for a legal conclusion because there was a difference between that question and the question that was asked by Ms. Roberts. You're asking him if it's a marital asset, and that is a legal term that the court has to determine what the marital assets are. If there is equity in the property that came, I think the question Ms. Roberts asked was, is the equity or the $160,000, whatever was paid down on the house, did that come from his separate funds? That was the question she asked that you objected to as a legal conclusion. It was not a legal conclusion in this court's opinion to ask someone if a down payment came from separate funds of that person. You're asking him if it's a marital asset, which is a legal term used by the court in determining what are the marital and separate assets. That's the reason I'm sustaining and why I see a difference in the two.
Mr. Tootle, do you agree that you and your wife own this house that you live in currently together?
she's on the title, yes.
You all equally own it?
I mean, I guess by the title, yes, but there's no equal to it.
I want to talk to you. So you said your wife's threatened you
Yes, multiple times.
since the divorce was filed?
Once was prior, back in roughly late October, early November. I had to go get a hotel room for 2 nights to let things cool down at the advice of my friend who is an attorney. Then there was another time somewhere in November where we were disagreeing on potentially what the divorce would do. Then there was a time just 2 weeks ago in front of her 12-year-old.
This divorce filed January 26, 2024, correct?
Right.
Okay. You and your wife had sex since then?
Once.
So you weren't too scared of her, were you?
Like I
You
said,
agreed to
I
have
wasn't.
sex with her.
Like I said, I'm not scared of her. What I was scared of is I'm afraid that she would say that something happened, but nothing did happen. And the reason is because I think she's using that to try and get a temporary restraining order to get me out of the house.
But you had sex with her. Since you filed the divorce, you've had sex with her.
Yes, one time.
They had sex with each other. So I fast forward a lot within this case right here, back to the cross-examination of the wife.
Yes.
Is your gross monthly income before tax reflected on the income and expense statement $3,912.46?
Yes.
Okay, that's monthly, correct?
Yes.
And your federal tax and other taxes are $589.38?
Yes.
Okay. You have your monthly expenses listed below. Can you go through and explain to the court what those monthly expenses are?
So I pay my car payment of $1,034, my cell phone, my gas. Do you want me to list the amounts too?
Yeah, or that, well, yes.
Okay. And then cell phone, I pay $450. My fuel, gas for my car is $320. And my car insurance is $468. And food and groceries a month for us is $1,200, roughly. And
Imagine making $40,000 per year and paying $1,500 a month for a vehicle. Talk about while having 3 kids, 2 of which are not even on child support, your expectation of housing, your expectation of support of your kids, all because you suckered a man to affording you this lifestyle. Having to go to your therapist to figure out that you were never in love with him. Really need your therapist in order to figure that out? Crazy this is a case where more financial burden is being put up on the man. Meanwhile, there's no talk here about marriage fraud. Why? Because there's not protection for men who put themselves in this position.
laundry, cleaning supplies is about $350, and cleaning, personal care, $400, and entertainment is about $489, and my 401k is $117.37.
Okay, I want to go through each one of those.
Okay.
Your car payment is on the SUV, and what is that vehicle?
Tahoe.
And
You have a copy that you'd like for me to look at?
I'm sorry,
Because
Judge.
Obviously, it's a lot more difficult for me to follow along with what's being said if I'm not looking at it. You gonna take a picture of it?
I am,
for me?
Judge, I'm a copy short.
Just let the clerk run it. Can't we just run a photocopy of what?
I can run him a copy.
You can go ahead and ask, but obviously, we'll run a photocopy and give you back the original.
I thought I had an extra copy, 3 copies.
Just for future reference, it's always beneficial if you're asking a witness about a document that you're going through a lot of detail on. It's always helpful to give the judge a copy of it so that I can understand it, because listening to it and when you two are going over it, kind of flies over my head, so.
My apologies, Judge.
It's all right.
Ms. Bachnick, I'm just going to move on to something else, then come back to that. Okay. You've marriage was in September.
Yes.
Okay, so you and your husband married in September.
Yes.
Okay. Following the marriage, was a house purchased?
Right.
And you've continued to reside there until the present day.
Yes.
Are you and your husband living there together?
Yes.
If the court denies the motion for exclusive possession that's been filed by your husband and puts parameters in place relative to you and your husband continuing to cohabitate there, will you abide by all such?
Yes, I can respect that, what he needs.
Okay. Ms. Bachnick, going back to the income and expense statement, the car payment, which was number one, see that?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
It's $1,034.27. Okay. That is a payment on what vehicle?
The Chevy Tahoe.
Do you primarily drive that vehicle?
I'm the only one that drives that vehicle primarily, yes.
Who are the title owners to that vehicle?
Me and Jody.
And who is obligated on the indebtedness owed and secured by the vehicle?
Jody.
How long have you been making that payment?
I'm the past 3 months, so I've made 3 payments total.
Okay. So moving forward, are you willing to timely make that payment?
Yes,
The second line item is a cell phone.
right.
All right, so I'm actually skipping forward into the proceeding until the husband's lawyer gets up to cross-examine the wife. I think she asked some very interesting questions. Let's listen in.
Ms. Botnick, why is it that you want the house sold?
Well, Jody mentioned that as well
I
because,
didn't ask what he did. I asked, why do you want it sold?
Or if my client could answer the question.
I agree.
I don't think she's asking the question, she's answering the question. She's saying that he wanted it sold too, but the question is, why does she want it sold? So.
Right. Because that was a house we were married in. And if I'm leaving, then we both move on. I want the house sold.
But just in revenge.
No, definitely not revenge. I'm not vindictive like that.
Okay. Well, you put this income and expense statement for whatever the truth of it is that you don't have,
Staying on the sidebar comments, don't make sidebar comments.
you're stating that you only have $3,912 a month to support you, your 3 kids, and your mother.
Right.
And you're gonna sell a home that you've not contributed to whatsoever, correct?
Right.
And you're going to have that listed for sale, so there's gonna be a sales commission that's gonna be paid on it, correct?
Correct.
And then you're going to have capital gains tax on any income that you derived from that, correct? Did you know that?
Okay. Correct.
And so so again, it's certainly not for financial gain that you think you're gonna sell the house, is it?
Well, the divorce is going to end us. We're not going to be together anymore, and I want a fresh start. He will want a fresh start, and I want the house sold.
Because you want the money, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily, no.
Then walk away.
Now, in your income and expense statement, you use $3,912.46 is what your income is. But again, you're making $22 an hour.
Right.
So that's $45,000 and some change a year, correct? $45,760 a year.
Yes.
So you divide that out, and I divided by 52 weeks, and that's $3,813.
Okay.
Where did do you make any overtime or anything else?
No, we're not allowed overtime.
But this income that you've got up here, this monthly income before taxes, does not include the $687, the $780, or the $599, which is an additional $2,066. Isn't that correct?
If that's what you have on there.
Well, you don't have it on there. I added it up. But if you look down at the bottom, monthly court order child support, $687.
And also, it's not consistent. I mentioned why.
You didn't put that on, that's not included in this number, is it?
Is it not?
Is it or is it not? This is what you've introduced as your income, ma'am.
It's not introduced.
Okay.
Because it's not consistent, because he doesn't have a job half the time, his father.
Well, see, I asked you, when I called you on direct examination, I asked you what child support you get, and you know what your testimony was?
Yes, and I told you.
No, you just said I only get it for Sailor. You get $687.
Right.
You didn't mention that you got it for Bryson.
Because I hardly get it.
Well, when was the last time you got it?
Last
month?
No. Let me finish, please. I got it probably back in October of 2023. And I can show proof of that.
Have you instituted any cases against him to try to collect the money?
Well, it's kind of pointless because it's already garnished out of his wages, and it would cost me money that I don't really have to fight him. And
So you would instead let somebody who's not the father of your child support you and provide a home for you than to go get money from the person
father.
who's supposed to be supporting that child.
well, he does work sometimes, and when he does, I do get money for Bryson.
I think that was a fantastic question. He's co-signed on the car with you, indebted at least $8,000. He's on the hook for paying that extra $1,000 to $1,500 per month if you include insurance. So why would you then not want to utilize that money instead to get money from the father, the actual father of one of your children?
And I'm doing what I can. Make sure he has everything he needs.
You're doing what you can.
Right, for my kids.
Have you gotten another
Trying
job?
to sell the house that you didn't buy.
No, I have a baby. New baby.
Okay.
Well,
So what are you doing?
Does
I
that
don't-
preclude you from having to support your children?
I don't think I would have time to have another job when I work 40 hours a week.
You just work 40 hours a week.
Your mother's at home with the children.
And your mother is, you're providing a roof for your mother on somebody else's dime. Correct?
She helps a lot with the children, so that's saving me on having to get childcare.
So go get another job.
Your 10-year-old has a cell phone,
Yes, everyone in his grade has one.
so we have to keep up with the Joneses. But, because everybody in his grade has one? Who
Well,
does
he rides
who
the
does he
bus.
call?
He games on it and stuff like that. That's what all the kids do these days.
But who's paying the internet so that he can log on to it out there at Yell Creek?
I am
You're paying the internet
on the phone.
on the phone?
I'm paying the cell phone.
Okay, he doesn't click on and get on and not use his cellular data?
I could use hotspot if I need to.
Who pays for the hotspot?
Me, I pay for my cell phone.
Okay, so that's what you're doing.
If I need to.
I didn't ask what you needed to, I asked what you were doing.
So right now, when he's not home, he runs off the service. I don't even know if he's even connected to the wireless internet half the time. He's 10.
Now, you go to Green Hills twice a week is what your testimony is?
Sometimes I go in Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she changes it up, but most of the time it's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
No, I didn't ask what most of the time. You testified when I put you on the witness stand first, that you have to go to Green Hills twice a week.
Right.
That's not true, is it?
Unless the weather's bad or if it's snowing, no, I don't go if it's snowing.
And you don't
And this
go,
past week, I didn't go on Tuesday because of the storms. So it does change sometimes.
so when I subpoena your work records and
Absolutely. Go
that they're
ahead.
going to tell you were at the office 2 times every week,
Go ahead.
every week since the beginning of this year.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
That's the truth.
Unless there's bad weather or if something's going on with the kids or if something's going on.
Well, how many times has something gone on?
Quite a bit. The weather, it was winter.
Now,
She's barely
I
at
want
the
to,
office.
I've got some black and white pictures, but I want to, I didn't print them in color, and I'm going to come to you and show you these if the court will allow. Just give me a little shot. And yet you were watching the video, you videoed yourself and you saw your son
Right, so he was
shooting the
safe.
holes into the drywall, or it's the insulation, isn't it?
Judge, may I haven't seen
You
these.
may approach and watch what's being shown.
I can't even see it.
You can't see that because it's so tiny.
Oh, now I can't see the screen. So, right, that's zoomed in.
I'm gonna give you some black and white photographs here that we're gonna make as an exhibit.
And these are zoomed in.
Yes, I'm not disputing, these are,
Right, and they're so tiny, it's hard to, I could putty them, but they're so tiny.
So moving on, she actually addresses right here the allegations that she's cheating on her husband.
so 2 occasions that you just admitted that you lied about. Now, you are also communicating with another gentleman now, aren't you?
I have a friend that I text, but I'm not,
A male friend
yes,
that you are anticipating and romantically texting, correct?
he lives in Chattanooga, so
I
there
didn't
would
ask where
be-
he
That's
lived.
where we live, right?
Okay, well, no, we don't talk like that.
You don't talk about-
Support a friend, because I'm going through this and I need a friend. And I don't have a lot of girlfriends that really care, so I'm reaching out to him as a,
Dick.
Well, I'm not trying to question you because we're going to subpoena your text records from him.
Oh.
And I'm asking you right now, we've already established that you embellish or tell falsehoods. And I'm asking you right now to create a record because we have a court reporter. They are not romantic in nature. Is that correct? Yes or no?
we don't really talk like that over text
Yes or no?
message, though.
Not
I
to
guess
the
I just
point
don't
of
look at it that way.
not what y'all are going to do when your divorce is over. You can't wait to see him.
Just kind of been talking more about my feelings.
Okay. Okay, just understand that you're under oath and there's a penalty of perjury if you testify falsely. You understand that?
Right.
And so you are not romantically involved with anybody.
I did sleep with him. But we don't talk about it.
Look at, look at.
Well, you understand, I called you as a witness first, and I asked you if you were seeing anybody, didn't I?
I'm not seeing him. He lives in
Oh,
Chattanooga.
you're just having sex with him?
Yeah.
I had sex with him twice.
Twice, oh, I did sleep with him, now I have
But we
slept with him
don't text
multiple
about
times.
He lives in Chattanooga. I slept with him twice.
Right. Where?
And 2 times in a hotel.
Oh,
Where?
One time in a hotel, one time in a hotel.
Where?
you're still married.
First time was Nashville. Second time was in Murfreesboro.
Oh, you traveling
Who
around
paid
the
for
country
it?
for
He
dick.
did.
So you're looking for somebody else to start taking care of?
Yeah.
No, I don't want him. We don't even really talk now because I thought I was going to work it out with my husband.
Well, you lied to
Wanted to.
him. He asked you if you were dating anybody. You know what you told him? If you were seeing somebody.
I'm not seeing anybody.
You just having sex with somebody.
I had sex with him twice.
Did he ask you if you were seeing somebody or having a relationship with somebody?
He did, and I
And
don't
you
consider
lied,
that
didn't you?
seeing someone.
You lied, didn't you?
I'd ask that my client be given the opportunity to answer the questions Ms. Roberts poses.
I apologize.
Trying to answer the
Please
question.
allow her to answer the question.
You lied to your husband about having sex with
He didn't
somebody.
ask if I had sex with someone.
He didn't ask if you had sex. What did he ask you?
If I was seeing anyone, and I'm not.
And you're not. You just having sex with somebody.
I did twice, and I'm being honest about that.
Well, where were your kids when you were shacking up with this man while you're married?
Good question.
Well, at one time, my mom was watching them.
Wow.
Okay.
And the other time, my mom was watching them both times, actually.
Did you advise her and tell her that you were going to meet another man?
No.
Well, she wouldn't have condoned that, would she?
No.
She would have been quite angry.
Yes.
Who is this
She
man?
loves Jody.
What's his name?
Will.
What's his name?
Will.
What's his name?
Say it.
Please give his full name.
I don't care about his last name. I'm just trying to find out who, is he a coworker or just somebody she met
Oh,
with?
no, it's not a coworker. I met him on Instagram years ago, and I met with him twice. He lives in Chattanooga.
I just thought
And
I
I-
missed it.
Well, and
Never
I
see
would
him
like
again.
his name. I would like his name.
Will Hansen.
Will what?
Will Hansen.
Hanton?
With the H.
Poor Will.
Hanton.
Hansen.
Hanson. I'm sorry. I don't have my hearing aids in.
Poor Will. Slid into her DMs years ago. Been liking her Instagram photos, putting little heart and eyes and emojis down into her comments section. Finds out that she's going through marital problems and arranges a meetup to finally feel what her 3X baby father to inside looks like. Ah, poor Will. Taken advantage of by a woman who was letting her mother watch her kids while receiving dick from him. Shame. Shame.
And when were these liaisons?
The exact dates I don't. I'd have to,
This has gone on a while. She's admitted to having
It's-
a little
So,
an affair. We're here on division of debt and possession of the house. With respect to the division of
Deserves
debt,
nothing.
marital fault is not a factor.
I'll move on, Judge. The only other question I was going to ask is who paid for the gas and whose car did you use to drive to meet
ask
your...
that question and that'll be the last one.
he paid for everything.
He gave you gas money?
Yes. Cash.
How much did he give you?
$80.
So this man you met on Instagram gave you $80 to meet him in a hotel room in Murfreesboro and in Nashville to have sex.
He didn't
Yes.
give
No, I want to
me,
object. That assumes facts, not in evidence. She's implying something totally different. And
What am I implying?
Yeah,
I
she
think you're implying
testified she gave him.
met with him for money.
Pardon?
The way I took the question was that
She was saying Ms. Roberts is implying that she is having sex with this man for money. I think she's implying that she was asking whether she had expended marital funds to meet her paramour, and that was the question that was put forth, and she testified that the gentleman gave her money for gas and so forth. I didn't take it that it was in any implication of anything.
Is there any other times that somebody's given you any other money that you've not disclosed on your income and expense statement? First, you only told stories because you were covering for your kids. Then you told a story about having relations with another man while you're still married. And you also told a story about the fact of threatening to call the police and have Mr. Tootle kicked out of the house. And you have said that, haven't you?
right, I did not say that.
You did, you're sure?
I'm 100% sure.
You understand, we've had, there could be surveillance.
Totally
So
fine.
you don't want to recant that right now?
No.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You have every opportunity before this hearing is over with to recant that statement. Are you, again, testifying that you never made a threat to him to call the police and have him thrown out of the house?
The one about me throwing myself against the wall, I did not say that.
Okay, well, what did you say?
Which time when I threatened it?
Well, obviously, there's more than one threat.
Because he is kind of a bully. And yes, I will threaten to call the cops on you if you threaten me.
Okay.
Meaning him.
I don't, if, you can threaten me all you want to, but
I-
when did you threaten him to call the police on him and have him thrown out of the house? When did you do it?
I didn't call.
I didn't ask if you called, I said, when did you make that threat?
I did it several times. It was when he mentioned it too, back before December and then between January and March. I don't know the exact dates.
I mean, just last week you did it, didn't you?
He was being rude to me. He said, I can't wait till you're out of this house. Wait till a judge sees this. I'm going to make sure you're gone. You and your
So man is rude to you, therefore you threaten to get him thrown out of his house with false allegations. Yeah, that makes sense.
kids will be out on the street.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call the cops on you if you keep threatening me.
Wow.
So telling you you're rude and he
Well, he
wants you out of the
stopped.
house is, you're gonna call the police.
I
That's,
told him to stop and he did.
that's all.
That's all. Oh,
Redirect.
disgusting.
Bognick, you heard Ms. Roberts asked you why you wanted the property sold, correct?
All right, let's not get into her defense.
He,
In this house and not
Right,
have
we-
much interaction?
right, we have a bonus room upstairs that he has been staying up there. And we seem to coexist pretty well, considering.
No more questions, Your Honor.
You don't have anywhere to go, what are you gonna do if the house sells?
You understand the question? She's asking if you don't have any place to go, where are you going to go when the house sells?
I
Obviously.
might have to get help from my sister.
So you have the availability to do that?
No, I'll have to reach out if that's the case. She lives in Texas. I have no family in Tennessee, besides my mom.
But of course, until you were caught on cross-examination about telling numerous lies, you never raised one issue or told anything about some verbal abuse, did you?
That's why it was brought up about me having to threaten to call the police.
Why did you have sex with this man after the divorce was served if he's such an abusive person?
Well, same instance, he had sex with me.
Well, I asked that question.
was that
too,
one of
but
those
You're on the
nights.
witness stand now.
We were both drinking and
No, I'm
It
going to
just-
object.
he's my
This is
husband.
outside the scope.
and I do still love him.
Hold on just a second. The objections outside the scope of redirect sustained. I think we've heard all we need to about that. So.
Have you ever been verbally abusive?
No, we called each other names, but that's it.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Have you ever been verbally abusive to your wife?
We've called each other names. What she said about being out of the house, I did say that. Just because I thought that's what's going to happen.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
So do you have any questions?
I may have just a moment.
You threatened her that you and your 3 kids are going to be out of this house.
I did not say you and your 3 kids will be out of this house. I said it'll be up to the judge.
No more questions.
That's all.
All right, so the examination is done, and now they give it over to the judge for his final summary.
You knew her for 7 years before you married her, right?
I did.
All right. You helped her get a job,
I did.
and you knew she was carrying another man's child when you married her, right?
She already had the baby when we got
Already
married.
had the baby. So she
Correct.
had 3 children by 3 different men, and you knew all of that before you married her.
I did.
So you kind of knew what you were getting into, at least you suspected you knew.
I kind of figured it was a 50-50 whether it was going to work out.
So
Stupid, I know.
Stupid
most
as
men, when
hell.
they get married, they don't think about 50-50 chance of it working out when they, ask someone to marry them.
If you knew it was a 50-50 chance, my G, why this one? Even the judge is laughing at you.
To believe
Although I will say that with the divorce rate in this country, that's probably not far from the average of what marriages work out and what don't. But my question to this is, you expected there would be problems, I assume.
Yeah, I wanted to believe what she was telling me she was past going out and partying, and she was ready to be a family and settle down, and she was looking for stability.
Cared
And
for
so-
her and you wanted to help her.
And obviously for 8 years, there's something there, you know, I was fed the whole 9 yards.
Point is that you went into this knowing that there could be problems, right?
I did.
And it turned out there are problems.
Within a couple of weeks, I figured out there was problems.
As soon as she got the ring.
But you say you still love her.
I do, but I don't think I have the same kind of love that I had before. It's more, I care about her.
All right, that's all. Step down.
Thank you.
That's our proof, Your Honor.
All right, let's get to the ruling.
There's an old saying, oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Y'all have heard that before?
Yes.
It applies to everybody in this case. I think Mr. Tootle deceived himself when he thought that he was going to be able to marry this lady and
Turn it to hoe into a
fix her
house.
problems and that they would live happily ever after.
Right.
Although he admits today he thought maybe he only had a 50-50 chance of success in doing so. Of course, Ms. Balknick has testified that, or at least there was testimony that, I don't think she testified about it, but there was testimony that she didn't realize that she didn't really love him until her therapist, I think it was, that told her she didn't really love him. And if she went out and had sex with 2 other men during the marriage, obviously that would be something that she didn't marry. She didn't love him. So this is a situation that is a temporary hearing that is designed to keep the parties in life and limb together until such time as they can conclude this matter after discovery and after mediation takes place. They are both asking for a divorce. So therefore, as was pointed out, whether Ms. Balknick wants to move out of the house or not, right now, that's coming. I mean, you're going to have to do it sooner or later. Mr. Tootle has indicated that he cares for her children, and his concern is that she may make some false allegation against him while they are continuing to live together. So it's going to take time for her to move out. The Dixon County school system concludes its school year on what, May 23rd, I think it is?
Yes, sir.
And it is this court's opinion that these parties will continue to cohabit in the marital residence until June 1st. At that point, Ms. Balknick will vacate the property. Mr. Tootle will continue to have temporary possession of the marital residence. I make that statement because of the fact that it is apparent that Mrs. Balknick cannot afford to pay the house payments, and therefore if he is forced to leave, he's going to still have to make the house payments. She has indicated that she wants to sell the house, which obviously indicates she would then have to leave. In the interim period that they reside together, she will pay all payments that she has on her income and expense statement. I have added, she's showing a shortage of her income and expenses that she's negative $1,505.56. If you add back in the child support payments and her renewable income, then that comes to $5,978.46. So it's clearly more than her expenses are, even considering those expenses, which when I look at, no, and I don't mean this to be harsh, but I don't spend $489 on recreation and entertainment a month.
Call it out.
Clothing and personal care, $400 a month. Folks, you're going through a divorce. You're going to have to tighten up a lot of these expenses that are otherwise you might do if you're living in a nice home and having 2 incomes that total over $200,000 a year. This is not going to be the case.
Right.
Short-term marriages that go through divorce, the court's usually looking to put the parties back in the situation they were in prior to the marriage. It's just that simple. Short-term marriages of 6 months do not typically require or even justify the awarding of alimony or spousal support, absent some compelling circumstances. So I'm just saying these expenses that are here are going to have to be looked at. Her car payment of $1,034.27 is fixed. It's going to have to be paid. She's got cell phones for a 10-year-old, so be it. She'll have to pay for it. Her automobile insurance goes with her car. Her food and groceries are $1,200 a month. She's only going to be required to provide food and groceries for her and her children. He will have to provide food for himself. Laundry and cleaning doesn't seem to be particularly outrageous, but the $400 for clothing and personal care and $489 recreational entertainment may be an area that Ms. Balknick has to kind of reduce. Mr. Tootle will be required to pay those expenses that are shown on his income and expense statement. Right now, he's paying the house mortgage. He wants to keep the house. The issue of any credit that he is to receive from making the payments on a temporary basis, any increase in the equity that might result from that will be reserved for the final hearing in this case. He's providing right now for the next 2 months at least a place for her and the children to reside until June 1st. And that, in my opinion, would justify that. I've taken away the $300 phone bill that she's now going to be required to pay, which means he'll have some small amount. But I also think he's got a greater amount than what's shown on here because there's some flexibility in his income. In any event, he'll pay the monthly mortgages on the house and all of those other bills that he has paid, with the exception of the Chevrolet Tahoe, which she is going to be required to pay. And with that being the case, I will put down this further order. These parties are both restrained and prohibited from involving law enforcement in any way, shape, form, or fashion against one another to gain an advantage in this divorce action, or to seek to have the other removed from the home. A violation of this order will be contempt of court. I'm just simply saying that. I'm not saying you would do that, but I'm saying there's been some allegation that you were going to call the police. There's some reason he might, but I'm simply saying you can't do that under this order. And as a result of that, if something happens and it turns out that somebody violates that order, they're looking at 10 days in jail for even doing that, making that type of report. If there is any indication of violence in the home, you must come to this court, file an application for an order of protection with the Chancery Court of Dixon County, Tennessee, so you will have that protection. And if you feel threatened or you have the right to apply to this court for an order of protection. They will present it to me personally for me to review, since I'm the one who's hearing this case, and I'll determine whether or not there is a need for an order of protection, and then probably would have to set a hearing even if I denied it. So both of these parties are restrained and prohibited from arguing, fussing, fighting, speaking negatively to each other, cursing each other, certain words that are just not acceptable. And you've uttered one of those in regards to your wife. Whether you agree with what kind of a life she's lived in the past or what kind of behavior she's exhibited, she is your wife. She deserves more respect just for that fact alone. And he deserves, being your husband, to have a little bit more respect than what you've shown him. So treat each other with respect in this time you live together. Either of you has the right to vacate the home upon your decision to do so. You can move out and let her have the house pending that. She can move out if she doesn't like living there with you. But you're going to cohabit it peacefully. There will be no fussing, fighting, cursing, or anything else. You'll reside in the upstairs bedroom. She'll reside downstairs. There will be no damage inflicted on this house by anyone associated with that. So both sides are prohibited from destroying, damaging, or whatever. You are prohibited from allowing your 10-year-old to drive the car, at least at this point. Just don't let him drive the car. Don't let him shoot holes in the wall with a bow and arrow or whatever it was that was there. Just be no damage to the residents. Absent an agreement otherwise, I'm going to order that there be an appraisal conducted on the value of this house to determine, I know that wasn't necessarily requested, but it goes with the question of selling. Let's find out what the house is worth. It may be worth considerably more, in which case you may have a lot of equity that you may be entitled to. It may be lost in the downturn of the economic market that real estate has suffered recently. It may be worth less. So as a result of that, we're going to order that the parties agree upon, unless you have some,
Chris Chatham.
I was just about to utter those words. Chris Chatham would be the person who usually does the appraisals in this area. You have any objection to that? Chris Chatham will be authorized to perform an evaluation of the house. And then the issue of we'll reserve the issue of selling the house. If there is substantial equity that Mrs. Bachnick would be entitled to, then it may be necessary to sell it. Mr. Tootle, you have exhausted all of your equity, but the court will reserve the issue of your contribution of separate monies and the determination of how any equity in the home is to be divided. So obviously, if there's no equity above the separate contributions, then it may make sense to award it to him, and he's simply eats whatever the loss is of his equity. But otherwise, that's the order of the court. Mrs. Bachnick's mother is going to continue to reside there to help her with the children.
Yep. You guys are probably just as surprised as what I am. You know, the poor husband got told, hey, man, that is your wife. Treat her with respect. Meanwhile, the wife is getting porked by the IG friend. Even when the judges are men, you can see how they tiptoe around the wrongdoing and how often their talking points are in favor of the woman. Even offering that her expenses are crazy with a slight slap on the wrist, comparing it to people who both brought in $200K per year, concluding with the official appraisal of the house so they can eventually sell it, in which she would be entitled to some form of equity. And I'm not going to go on and play it, but the judge agrees that the mother should be able to stay in the house for the next couple of months until June. And again, urging everyone to just keep civil within that time while they work to continue to finalize the divorce. But yeah, 6 months of marriage, 3 kids by 3 baby fathers, putting down $160,000 on an $800,000 house, purchasing the vehicle, having the mama live in, she's cheating on him. Then after all of that, the judge concludes that he lied to himself, the man, while not addressing that the woman lied to him the entire time, even after admitting in a therapy session that she was no longer in love with him. Gentlemen, let his lesson be a lesson to the wise, especially in the land of sprinkle, sprinkle, which she is obviously a follower and a participant of, is that they can say whatever that they want on their way to getting married, because they understand that when you begin to tie your finances to them, and if they don't make any money and you do, that you can be on the hook for bullshit. Let this also be a lesson. This is a grand lesson in being the nice guy. This is a grand lesson in being a pushover. This is a grand lesson of getting taken advantage of, because in the eyes of the court, at the end of it, you just become a math equation. Who cares how long that you've worked in order to build up enough money to afford the down payment of a house like this? The fact is that you entered in a marriage contract, i.e. a business contract, and you put her name on the damn deed. You being her insurance policy was her plan all along. Stay vigilant out there, my G's, because if you don't take action, it can happen to you. This case demonstrates the greed that exists within the family court system, but the judge immediately recognizes it and ain't having it. Let's get active.
Please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can both put your hands down.
Okay. How old are your children?
They are 12 and 14.
Okay. And the current order in your case from 2017 has the child support set at $1,925. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Birch was also ordered to carry the health insurance for the children in that order?
Yes, which is what I asked, which that has been, I guess, resolved and not a part of this. That was my
So this woman is asking for more money, but mind you, she already receives $30,000 a year in child support as well as health expenses for the children already. But the double click into her words is that she don't want child support. She wants life support. Now she's filing this motion for more money for child support because she assumes her ex-husband is making more money. But let's listen to her inaccuracies.
Do you know where Mr. Birch works?
He works at East Texas Truck Center.
Okay. Do you know how much or how long has he done that?
I really don't know. I mean, it's been several years now that he's owned it. I would probably guess, if I was to guess, probably 5 to 7 years.
Okay, and you said that he owns that business?
Yes, he also owns other businesses as well. I'm not really fully aware of what all businesses that he does own.
Okay.
But I do know for a fact he does own East Texas Truck Center, and he does have a business in Nacogdoches and a business in Baytown.
Okay. Is the East Texas Truck Center, is that his main source of income?
Yes,
Okay. And you said that he's the owner of that business?
yes, that's correct.
Do you have any idea what kind of income that business generates?
I would guess probably 3 to 5 million. I did submit, and I'm not sure if you received it yesterday. I did get online and look at the appraisal districts for his property values. Did you receive that?
I did receive it.
Okay, so as far as his property values, which like I said, I can't state as to far as his revenue because it is an LLC and the financial information is not available. But I will say, like, as far as property owned in Baytown, per the appraisal district, it's 1.1 million. In Nacogdoches, he owns 5 properties, 3 of which were just acquired in December 15th, 2021.
Ms. Carpenter, stop.
Yes.
Ms. Simone, I need you to ask questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, you said that he owns other businesses. Do you know what the businesses are, or what the name of the businesses are?
I can, if you look at his LinkedIn accounts.
I don't have that available. Sorry.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now.
Notice how the judge is now kicked back in his chair with his arms up above him. And when the attorney general asked her, do you even know the names of the businesses? You can watch the judge shake his head no. And the judge was right. She doesn't even know the name to the business. So how can you be accurate in determining that he's making more money? And also notice how she keeps saying he owns. No, ma'am, it's his business that owns. What he gets paid from the businesses is what you need to determine for a new child support arrangement. Thankfully, the judge understands what she's doing, so let's listen to his clapback.
So, Ms. Carpenter, this information that you're about to give me is something that you're looking up from somewhere else?
The businesses owned is just
okay.
from
Just
his
my question.
LinkedIn account,
Ms.
president.
Carpenter, you don't know this information personally. This is just information that you're searching on the internet for.
And also my 14-year-old has told me as well.
Okay, so you can't use that information.
Okay.
Move on, Ms. Simone.
I'm going to go ahead and pass the witness.
Okay, yeah, let's see if you can find somebody that actually has direct knowledge of what it is that you're trying to do here.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Utilizing the 14-year-old son and the internet in order to drag everybody into the court proceeding to get more money. She did none of the work, but wants the extra income to improve her lifestyle, all because she previously had kids with him.
I will call Mr. Birch. Mr. Birch, would you state your full name for the court, please?
Joshua Paul Birch.
Okay. And you're the father of Aubrey and Adeline Birch?
That is correct.
Okay. And are you currently covering the children on your health insurance?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And can you give me the cost of that?
$315.97 per month per child through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
So $631.94.
And all right. And where do you currently work?
East Texas Truck Center.
Okay. And are you the owner of that business?
I'm a minority owner in that business.
Okay. Are you paid a salary?
I am, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is that salary?
It's $90,000 a year.
Okay. Do you own any other businesses besides the East Texas Trucking Center?
So I'm a minority owner in East Texas Truck Center, Inc.,
Okay.
which is not a LLC. And I'm a minority owner in East Texas Truck Center, Baytown, LLC. I'm a minority owner in Keystone Financial, LLC. And I'm a majority owner in Cornerstone, LLC.
Do you receive any other type of revenue from East Texas Truck Center besides your salary?
No, ma'am. Unless there's a dividend given, but we haven't given dividends.
Okay. Do you make any income from the Keystone Financial?
No, ma'am. There's no salaries or dividends given from that either. It's a startup company.
And do you make any income from Cornerstone Financial?
No, ma'am. Same thing. It was also established last year.
Okay. And you said Keystone, when was that established?
Keystone was actually established in 2000. I thought you said Keystone the first time. My
Yeah,
apologies.
I did. I'm sorry.
Keystone was established in 2018.
Okay.
I'm a minority there as well.
And you have not received any income from Keystone to the state?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'll go ahead and pass the witness.
Call your next witness.
I have no further witnesses.
The state ref?
Yes.
Okay. Your motion's denied. Mr. Birch, Ms. Carpenter, I've just denied the state's motion to adjust the child support in this case. They have to put on evidence to show me that there's some kind of change in income, and I heard nothing that leads me to believe that there's been a change. So the state not meeting its burden is therefore the motion is denied. If any party is satisfied, no, that's okay. I don't need to hear anything. If
I'm
any,
not understanding what's denied, sir. The new order or the old order?
I'm denying the state's, there's no new order, Mr. Birch.
Yes, sir.
You and Ms. Carpenter and the state were not able to come to an agreement. And
Yes,
so
sir.
a lawsuit was filed before me to see if the child support needs to be adjusted. The laws in this state are very simple. The state or whoever it is that's moving, asking me to adjust the child support has to prove what your old income was, where it came from, and the circumstances behind it, and then compare it to the new information that you have. And I find that the state has completely and utterly failed to do that. They haven't proven anything to me. They've thrown out some stuff, but nothing with any concrete or significant basis. And therefore, I'm denying the motion because they haven't met their burden of proof.
The level of entitlement in cases like this is truly disgusting. But Your Honor, he owns more businesses, so he's rich. So he's got to give me more money. The difference of how much money a business makes, which is referred to as revenue, can be much different than its profits, especially as an entrepreneur, and those two things can be miles apart. The man partly owns 4 different businesses, working his ass off, and you can't even work one job? Meanwhile, he's paying 1/3 of his salary in child support. The government, from a tax perspective, is probably taking out 1/4 to another 1/3. So he's living on between $2,000 to $3,000 per month, and now you want more. Get a job, ma'am. You're independent, strong, and don't need no man. Fight the patriarchy. By the way, let me say this because I have not made this clear in the beginning of this video. I completely understand if the parents are making more money, then more of that money should be going towards the child. But my issue is, and I've watched it with my own 2 eyes in my life, these women receiving child support, not utilizing the money for the child. And you would think with all of this technology today, you can create a way that will document every dollar that leaves my account and goes to her is spent actually on the child. Shit, we got AI that will write Shakespearean books from scratch with barely a prompt, but you're telling me that we can't figure this out? Completely preposterous.
Go ahead, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
You put your hands
You're
up.
going to jail.
You put your hands up.
You're going to jail. Don't go in my house. You're going to jail.
Buckle up for this story because this one is insane. But listen to me. As a man, the worst mistake that you can make in the West today is having kids with the wrong woman. We've seen countless story after countless story of these angry, bitter women utilizing the kids as leverage against you. We're gonna go over a court case right now where the woman attempted to do just that, but inevitably regretted her decision. Without further ado.
So February 1st, I arrived at Mr. Harrison's residence to pick up our son, Preston, that we share, but he is not legitimized. I did let Mr. Harrison know that I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to get my son and leave. And he persisted on trying to talk, and I tried to, get my son ready to go, and he persisted and persisted, and the conversation escalated to the point where I told him to just go in his room and allow me to get my son ready, in which he got upset and grabbed me and told me, "Watch who the fuck you talk to." I responded in self-defense when Mr. Harrison, then he grabbed me and he lifted me in the air and slammed me on the ground right in front of my son. When I got upset, Mr. Harrison went and grabbed his phone.
Just real quick, notice how she said there that I responded in self-defense, and then she stumbled over her words. So him saying something to you, you responded in self-defense. The only logical conclusion is that self-defense was physical towards him. But pay attention to how she removes accountability for herself in describing that.
And started recording me and started pushing me out the door. I kept saying, "I just want to get my son and leave. I want to get my son and leave." He kept pushing me out the door with the phone in my face. When I knocked the phone out his hand and I managed to move past him and grab my phone in my purse, and I tried to reach for my son, he then took me and took me to the door and literally lifted me up and threw me out the house. After that, the situation escalated where a reporting was presented to the police, in which I can't speak of because it's an open case. However, there is against me a no contact order in which I've been honoring, and I have not contacted Mr. Harrison at all since the incident. And since we share a son that has not been legitimized, I had removed him on the pickup list for the son because we do not have a parental agreement. On February the 6th, I received a phone call from the school because Mr. Harrison arrived at the school causing a commotion because he's trying to pick up our son, Preston. The school then, distraught because they didn't know what to do. They're not used to situations like this, and they don't understand the Georgia law.
Doesn't matter about that. Move along.
So just real quick, for your understanding, not legitimized means that sole custody is with her. So in the state of Georgia, a father does not have the right to custody or a right to visitation with that child, although they are required to support that child financially. When you begin to understand how the laws are worked against you as a man, the thought of going in raw on some of these women should become less appealing to you. Let's proceed.
So Mr. Harrison, they relieved Mr. Harrison. They released my son to Mr. Harrison, in which, because we have a no contact order, I had to request a police escort. The officer didn't. Yes.
No contact order because he was arrested?
No, it was a no contact order because I was arrested.
Yeah, because you were crazy.
Because of the footage on the video.
Yes.
So we share a son together, which he isn't legitimized. He took my son from the school, and I had to contact the police to receive a police escort to obtain my son. The detective had contacted Mr. Harrison. I do not have a police report because Officer Edie did not write a report, but I obtained a copy of the phone call the detective made to Mr. Harrison, in which the call he acknowledges that my son had not been legitimized, acknowledged that there was a no contact order, and in the end, he was advised to get my son legitimized. And he was also defiant against the detective when asked to return my son. He said, "Well, what if I don't return him?" Which gives me cause to believe that this may happen again. Mr. Harrison has, I've not received any information about Mr. Harrison attempting to legitimize my son, but he has emailed me numerous times about contacting me numerous times to pick up my son. And
my son.
He has also had friends reach out to me when I went to the police station to inquire on how I can protect myself from him contacting me with this, because I feel like I'm being baited to contact him and avoid him going to my son's school and picking him up. He suggested that I get the CPO. There has also been situations.
Is there a pending legitimation case?
Probably not.
You know where Miss Free is? Okay. Miss Free, the deputy's looking for you. Is there a pending legitimation? Sir, have you filed one?
No, I'm actually hiring a lawyer. I'm actually about to go for full custody of my 40-year-old son.
I don't care about all that. I just said, have you filed a legitimation case?
Say no.
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor.
So, I'm sorry, everybody, but somebody has messed with the whole system in here. If there's an echo, I apologize. If I mute myself, can't hear. I don't even know how to fix it.
The judge should already have picked up on a couple of things. Number one, how she always refers to their child as her son. And then also that there is a no contact rule because of the video, which more than likely shows how violent that she actually is. The only victim here is the little boy. See, the father knows that. That's why the father is not working to legitimize, because once he legitimizes, well, then she has sole custody and he has no visitation. So why would he give that up? But he's doing the correct thing in hiring a lawyer to get the situation handled.
Let me hear from you, sir. What about this throwing her on the ground, etc.?
All right. So my son and we share 2 kids together. So for the past 2 years, I stayed right around the corner from my son's school and around the corner from my daughter's school. So for the past 2 years, Monday through Friday, my daughter and my son come over to my house. I go pick up my son from school every day for the past 2 years. All right. So the weekend before February 1st, I have another daughter. Her mom's name is Erica. My daughter had a birthday party and she didn't want the children that me and Miss Simmons share. The children that me and Miss Simmons share together, she didn't want them around my other daughter's mom. So on February 1st, my daughter, she didn't come over my house. And so I was concerned. So I was calling my daughter. She just turned 14. I was calling my daughter and I was calling Miss Simmons. Nobody responded to me. Nobody responded to my text. So when she came to pick up our son, and when she came in to pick him up, I asked her, I was like, have you talked to Trinity? Because she hasn't came to the house. And so she automatically upset, like, yo, I ain't talking to you right now. So I'm like, I just need to know, have you talked to Trinity? Like, is she at your house or is she at my house? I can't hear you. I'm sorry, Judge, I can't hear you.
I just need to know if you slammed her on the ground.
Oh, never. She got upset, and she put her hands around my neck. And I said, you gonna do this in front of our son? And so I took her hands off me and I ran to my room and got my phone and I recorded everything on the phone. So and on the video, she's punching me, she's slapping me, she's trying to choke me. And so I called 911 and I requested the police. I said, I have a lady and I got the videos, I could screen share.
This day is the day she was arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have video you want to share?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you share your screen?
Always record.
Y'all can bring Mr. King on in. As soon as I finish this, we're going to take it up with Mr. King.
I'm getting my son. I'm not touching
I will get him. I will get him, bro. I will get him.
Get off of me. Get off
I
of
will
me.
get him.
Walk away from me, dog.
Nigga, you
Walk
in my
away.
house. Just get out my house.
My son's over there, and my son is over
get
there.
him, bro. Why'd you doing this? Why'd you doing this, bro? Just get out. Just get out, bro. All right, that's one.
Fuck out.
I'll get him, man. I'll get him. Just get out my house. If I knew you was coming like this, though, I wouldn't have let you in my house, bro. Just get out my house. Just get out my house. Just get out my house. Just get out my house.
I'm trying to get my son.
Just get out my house, bro. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. Just get out my house. Just get out my house, bro. You done already put your hands on me, bro.
No.
You done already put your hands on me. Get out my house, bro. Just get out my fucking house.
Get out from. Of course you would. Of course.
Go ahead and get out my house, bro. I'll bring my son outside. I'll bring my son outside. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. You done already put your hands on me and tried to choke me, bro.
You just threw me on the ground.
Cause you fucking choked me, dog. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Get out my house, dog. Get out my house. I'll get my son.
I'm getting him.
I get my son, bro. It was my daughter's fucking party.
I told you to leave me alone.
It was my daughter's party.
Get that shit out
It
of
was
my
my
face.
daughter's party. How is my daughter's party?
I don't
And you
want
don't
to
want
pet
her
them.
there?
I don't want to pet
Bro,
them.
just get
I don't
out my
want
house.
to
Wow.
You going to jail. You going to jail. You going to jail.
Wow.
You going to jail.
You put your hands
You
up.
going to jail.
Now, mind you, the children are in the house screaming. You got to think about the pure insanity, the pure lack of emotional control. You got to think of the pure disgustingness within her soul, the pure pathetic being that exists within her to be this evil, to not even hear her son crying to the extent of what he is, and to continue to pursue this man in this fashion, smashing the glass while your son's in the house. And she just doesn't care. What an awful person. What an awful mother. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You put your hands on me.
You
Go
going
ahead.
to jail. Don't go in my house.
Get off
You
of me.
going to jail. You going to jail.
Exactly what you want.
Go ahead, son. Don't touch me.
Get off of
Don't
me.
touch me, bro.
Get off of
You
me.
going to jail.
Satan women, witches, devils in skirts will put hands up on you. When you defend yourself, will utilize that as a way to do whatever they want around you because they feel the system of protection around them, whether it be the cultural narrative that men should never put their hands on women, even in cases of self-defense, to a government or a police system that will support them more often than not. Okay? So be mindful that you're always putting yourself at risk. And this brother had the video to show how ridiculous of a person that she is.
All right. Anything else from you, Ms. Simmons?
Oh,
Yes,
and
Your Honor.
Oh, let me see if she has anything she wants to say about that.
As you heard in the
Let's see.
video, I stated you just threw me on the floor, and he admitted to throwing me on the floor, and he just stated in open court
You
that he
choked
did
him.
not
He
throw me
defended
on
himself.
the ground. I know this was not
In open court, you said that you defended yourself. Oh, you are a liar.
the best light of me, but this was after I've been assaulted by Mr. Harrison. And in the video, as I was completely honest and letting you know
She ain't buying
that the situation had escalated, and I was trying to get my son, and I just wanted to get my son and leave. And he refused to let me get my son and leave. I did not want it to get to that level.
Anything else, Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am. Again, like I said, I've been picking up my son for 2 years. Like I said in the video, if I knew you was gonna come up acting like that, I would have never let you inside of my house. I got the paperwork with the case number. She went to jail. If I put my hands on her, I would have went to jail. But I recorded everything, according to 911 phone call. I said I do not want to hang up because I do not want to be said that I did something that I didn't do. So she went to jail. And as far as the emails and the TPO requests that she said, and I got screenshots of those too. Only thing I said was, Courtney, I just wanted to see my son. I just want to get my son. So when she called the police, when I picked my son up, it was a Monday. I went to go pick my son up like I always do for the past 2 years. So when I picked him up is when the police officer called me and said, if I don't bring him back, it'll be kidnapping because of legitimation. And I brought him back.
Anything else?
Shout out to Georgia law.
Anything else you want to tell me?
Yes, there has been incidents with my daughter, with Mr. Harrison in January the 26th. Mr. Harrison and my daughter and my son and another child were at Grindhouse. My daughter had made me aware of him taking my daughter and body slamming her on the ground. The incident was caught on video on the Grindhouse cameras. I had contacted the owner, and the owner indicated that he was going to call the police. I have the recording of the phone call between me and the owner of Grindhouse, and he indicated that he was going to call the police because he can only authorize.
Listen to it. The owner of Grindhouse isn't here.
according to Georgia law, it's a one
I
party.
appreciate you teaching me that. Let's do this.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you, Your Honor, but this was.
No, you didn't. But there was a lawyer earlier that tried to tell me that an opposing party couldn't call the respondent as a witness.
I like her.
But
The
according
judge.
to Georgia law, no, he is not here. I can't hear this recording. Is there anything else you need me to hear?
May I play the recording of that was an open record, so the phone call to the
Who was
the
the phone
police?
call between?
But between the detective and Mr. Harrison? This is an open record of.
It doesn't matter, but the other party isn't here. Both parties have to be here. Anything else?
I have emails between me and Mr. Harrison.
From when?
Recently, and from the past, we've also.
What does recently mean? Tell me what recently
means. This year, and in 2018, when I was pregnant with my son.
Not 2018. What is recent? Are they threatening messages, and what is recent? Because this video that I saw, when is Mr. Harrison, is the legitimation case been filed?
No, it hasn't been filed yet.
Hopefully never.
When do you plan on filing it?
I didn't know if I should just do the legitimation on my own or get a lawyer, and once I legitimize, go for the full custody.
When do you plan on? Have you met with an attorney, or when do you plan on doing it?
I'm talking to a couple right now. I got some recommendations. If possible, I can share a text message that she sent to me a week before while I was at work, where she says in the text message, "I'm going to make your life hell." If I can say the text message and the email.
Text message, and then Ms. Simmons, you can have the last word.
Yeah, it's relevant.
Go on and bring Mr. King in here. Why you pull that up? Let me let these other people.
Yes, ma'am. It was 2 days before the situation happened. She texted me out the blue. She wanted to argue. I even said it. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, and you want to start an argument while I'm at work. I wanted you to see where I told her, I said, okay, Courtney, you can continue to be controlling and aggressive, but I'm not into that. So go.
Look at that before he starts reading. I don't give a about your relationship with that bitch. My problem is why you so pressed about having my son around this monster when Emery was not around. Okay, let's see.
Go ahead and text and argue with yourself. And when you want to be grown, you can contact me, because this is what I'm not about to do anymore. She said, you create your own drama. You have done nothing but disrespect me. I'm going to scroll a little bit more. So I want you to see what she said. She said, I am your worst effing enemy from here on out. Do not think you can sleep peacefully. Rest assured, I will make your life hell. You will regret effing with me.
All right. What else you got to say, ma'am?
Please respond to that.
These messages were a result of a reoccurring, whenever I break things off with Mr. Harrison.
No. These messages are a result of never facing life's consequences for your erratic, your irrational, and your demonic behavior. That's why you feel so much comfort in threatening the father to y'all's children. That's exactly why, but let's hear her pathetic excuse.
He brings his, mind you, he's married and he has a child with his wife, and which is not Erica. But Erica is a woman who assaulted my daughter. It has relevance, and
Well, it's not, because this isn't against Erica. This is against him and not her.
I like her.
So that doesn't matter.
No matter.
This is between the two of you.
May I share my screen and show the emails?
Is this between you and Mr. Harrison?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
When was it?
It was November of this last year. And it's just in relation to
emails about.
So Mr. Harrison is texting me.
See, no, you just tell me what it's about. You say it's about picking up the kids. It's about picking up groceries. That's what I want you to do. What is it about?
It's a random message he emailed me of a text message, and it's just showing. It shows how.
Is this a violent email? Is it an email about?
She's reaching.
It's difficult to explain. May I just show the email?
Grasping for straws, if you will. Reaching for something that just doesn't exist. Trying to change the context of a situation to paint him in a bad light.
I'm waiting on the share screen.
Meanwhile, he has video evidence of her being a complete demon woman?
I have no idea.
I just want to share the email to show the level of harassment.
Okay, share the email.
It's me attempting to create.
Please share the email.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Simmons, you have one more chance. Can you share your screen?
I do apologize about that. I'm not very good with technology apparently, but I understand how damaging. I came into this courtroom with the understanding how damaging that video would be, and
show the
understanding
damn
that I
text.
had a no contact order.
Right now, there's a no contact order
against myself. I cannot contact Mr. Harrison, but it's not stopping him from contacting me.
Mr. Harrison.
Which is so crazy because via text message, she threatened him. Think about that for a second. Like, oh man, this chick is so crazy. And I think I made a comment earlier about him not wanting to legitimize. I didn't realize that in the state of Georgia, if you attempt to legitimize, you can also legitimize for full custody. And that's what I think that he should go for. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know this man's lifestyle. I don't know what type of money that he has, if he even has the means to be able to fight that battle in court, because it's going to cost a lot. And I don't know how much money that she has to be able to defend against that. And that is a real issue in these circumstances. Oftentimes, the one with the most money or the most money to be able to spend is the one that wins. But it's interesting to me that the discussion of legitimization comes up not when he is financially providing for her son, but it comes up when she wants to utilize that child against him. Pay attention.
Listen. Just a yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Are you contacting her in any way?
Through email. I ain't know nothing about the no contact.
Okay. That's one of her bond conditions.
I didn't know that.
I do understand I can't play the recording, but on the recording he admits to knowing about the no contact order and that he had not legitimized my son, and he has had our daughter.
She's done with this bullshit.
Sorry.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
You have to file a case. She does not have to let you see y'all's child unless you do that. That's how it is. More of a benefit than that. Something were to happen to you, the child could get survivor benefits. If something were to happen to Miss Simmons, as long as you've legitimated this child, the child would go to you as opposed to going to someone else and you being in probate court fighting for get custody of the child that belongs to you.
To you, right.
There are so many benefits. So people not doing this, that's just ridiculous. So you need to do that.
Yeah.
Miss Simmons, does your bond order say that you can have contact about the child?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Harrison, you can't contact her anymore. Her bond conditions are going to have to be modified. Do you understand me, Mr. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor.
Even about your child, you can't contact her. She doesn't have to let you see your child, unfortunately, if she doesn't want to. File your legitimation case. That judge can make any decision that he or she wants to about rights as far as visitation, parenting time, things like that. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
But don't put her in danger of getting her bond revoked. Because that video right there, that didn't really look like she was scared of you. I'm denying this, but Mr. Harrison, I'm telling you, stop contacting her. Even about the child. You can't do that. Get a lawyer, file something, and then y'all can talk about it in that case, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I was actually thinking that the son was still with him, but the son is actually with her. So he needs to put the money up in order to be able to fight this. And I do hope that when he fights it, he has enough money to go for full custody. There is no doubt in my mind that she is the type of woman that will say things to the children in order to paint him in a bad light. She will do anything in her power to constrain the relationship between the children and the father. There's no doubt in my mind that the son is going to feel the wrath, especially if the son looks very much like the father. The son is going to feel it the most as a way to project her bitterness onto somebody that resembles the father. I think that this brother needs to do a DNA test as well. It scared me to think how much she is not afraid of him. That demeanor means to me that she's also not afraid of cheating on you as well. I think that she's far beyond anger management. I think that she needs to be thrown in jail, to sit in jail and really think about her actions that she committed that day in front of her child. Another thing I wanted to point out is that the father seems to have, he's married, he's got kids with multiple baby mamas. Please trust and understand me. This is not a life that you want for yourself. Wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. I'm not in the corner of be a virgin until marriage. I think you can have your fun, but have your fun as safely as possible. It is not cool to keep on going raw dogs in all of these horrible, toxic women because you're setting up your life for horrid toxicity. You spend a lot of your time traveling in between these different places trying to be a father when your life can be filled with much more value added things. You could be working on your purpose. You could be taking trips to places to learn new things about, you could have much more money to work on your purpose or to take trips or just be more flexible within your life as opposed to just littering with all these kids who get at 10th of the time as if you found a correct woman the first time out. It is incredibly important for you to be able to think about life that way before you construct how you want your life to turn out. Stress is one of the greatest killers of our bodies. And this is a stressful situation. And shout out, last but not least, to the judge for seeing beyond the bullshit as constructed by that demon witch serpent woman.
Are you requesting that the father pays child support for the child Francesca?
Yes.
Even though the child is currently living with the father, is that correct?
Yes.
Child support should be set at $893 per month. Do you have any additional information that you would like to offer to the court as it relates to this case, sir?
The only thing I do have is a text message from her telling me 3 times that I can keep my kids and stay out of her life and she don't want them. I've been trying to get my kids for years. I've been going up and down with this over child support. I don't care about the money. I care about my kids' mental health and their school and their life. That's it. This woman has already exposed that she don't want them to me. I wish I can show y'all guys these messages that I have. I would print them up if I have to. But she exposed that I need to get them and stay out of her life. That's what I want today.
I'm bringing this case to you guys today in order to demonstrate the unmitigated gall that some of these greedy women bring into the family court system. The mother in today's case requests $900 for child support for 2 children. But guess what? Both children currently live with the father. Be sure you guys watch the entirety of this video because there's so many lessons to be learned. But I think above all, gentlemen, be extremely careful with your seed. Be extremely careful with who you get pregnant because this guy might be you. Without further ado,
Lonnie Mims and Gina Todora, please unmute and turn on your cameras. You both swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe this is a partially agreed order. The state will request to read into the record what has been agreed to by the parties. The parties agree that the father in this matter is currently employed and making at or about $25 an hour, 36 hours per week. The parties agree that that there has been no family violence. The parties agree to continue the non-disclosures from the prior order into this matter. The parties agree to no geographical restriction. And I believe that is the extent of the agreements. So at this time, Your Honor, the state would like to call the mother in this matter. Ma'am, can I get you to state your name for the record?
Yes, it's Gina Todora.
And can I get you to state the name of the child or children that we're here in reference to?
Yes, Dominic Mims and Francesca Mims.
And who do the children currently reside with?
They're currently with their dad right now.
And are they living with their dad or just residing with their dad?
My daughter is just residing. My son lives with his dad.
And how long has the daughter, Francesca, been with the father?
Since January 22nd.
And is there any specific reason why the child, Francesca, is currently residing with the father?
He took her and he will not give her back.
Bullshit. You know why? Because that's called kidnapping. And a kidnapper isn't going to show up in court in front of a judge. But if you really wanted your child back, you would have just went to the authorities. Obviously, there's a lot more to the story.
And the child, Dominic, is currently living with the father. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And how long has Dominic been living with the father?
Since October of 2023.
And is it your request today that the child, Francesca, be returned back to you?
Yes, sir.
And what steps, or if any, have you taken to get the child, Francesca, returned back to you?
I've looked into enforcing the initial court order where the custodial order of joint custody is in place. I have talked to Francesca. She claimed that she wanted to finish the school year out there, and that once school was over, she would like to come back.
Right. And are you requesting that the father pays child support for the child, Francesca,
Yes,
even though the child is currently living with the father? Is that correct?
yes. Well, he owes arrears.
I'm just asking about child support going forward, ma'am.
Yes. Well, when she comes back home, I would like for him to pay.
The absolute nerve to be asking for child support when the child doesn't live with you. Neither child lives with you. You should be the one that's paying.
All right, just one moment. And if child support was to be ordered based off of the father's income, the state has calculated child support in the amount of $893. Are you in agreement to that amount?
Yes.
And as it relates to the medical, how do your children currently receive insurance? Is it through the state or through your employer?
Yes, I carry them through the state.
And just confirm you have both children through the state. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are you requesting that the children continue to receive the insurance through the state?
As long as, if he doesn't have a way to carry them, I would like to continue to carry them through the state.
Her saying the phrase, I carry them through the state, is actually extremely wild. Because in reality, it's more like the state provides insurance paid through me, the taxpayers in that state.
And the state has calculated based off the father's income with both children receiving state medical that the father should pay a total of $390 per month. Are you in agreement to that amount?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as it relates to the child support arrears, the state has calculated child support arrears in the amount of $13,104.47 and requesting that the father pays that back at $130 per month. Are you in agreement to that amount?
I thought we had agreed to the 14,000. There's a 14,000 because what she had originally calculated was both of the children being gone since October. And I let her know that that was not accurate, that Dominic's been gone since October and Francesca's been gone since January 22nd. And she recalculated the number at 14,000. And I don't remember the exact amount, but it was a little bit more than 30.
And Your Honor, the state would like to offer into evidence what will be marked as State's Exhibit 1, which is a copy of the pay record. May we share the screen at this time, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just one moment. This is a pay record here in this matter. And as of, March 31st, 2024, the actual calculation for the child support arrears are in the amount of $15,924.47. Are you in agreement to that amount, ma'am? And do you see that?
Yes, sir.
However, you are in agreement to provide some possession credits. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your Honor, the state is requesting that this be admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 1, which is again the pay record in this matter.
State Exhibit 1 is admitted.
And may I stop sharing my screen at this time, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And as it relates to the, just one moment here. As it relates to the credit, you are requesting that the father only be provided with 3 months of possession credits. Is that correct?
For Francesca, and then I think it would be 6 months for Dominic.
And that would be a calculation of $14,796.47. Are you in agreement to the father paying that back at $130 per month?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand? I'm sorry, just one moment here. 1 second. And as it relates to the conservatorship, are you requesting that the parties be named as joint managing conservators?
Yes.
And just to confirm, as it relates to the possession of the child Dominic, are you in agreement to the father continuing to have possession of that child?
Yes, sir.
And you're just requesting that the child, Francesca, reside with you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Very interesting that she only wants her daughter back and not the son, which leads me to conclude that she wants at least one kid back so that she can get some component of a check. All right, so we've heard the mother speak. She's requesting the remainder of that back child support, which is about $14,000, but still wants the $900 for the children that are currently living with the father. So the big question is, why is at least the daughter currently residing with the father? Well, the father explains that.
Yes, sir.
And was that previously ordered in your prior divorce decree?
No, it was, I had custody of both of them primarily with joint custody.
Okay, thank you. Now, as it relates to the visitation, are you in agreement to the father having a standard visitation agreement with the child, Francesca?
Absolutely.
And would you be requesting that you have a standard visitation agreement with the child, Dominic?
Yes.
And are you in agreement to the father paying the court costs associated with this matter today?
Yes, sir.
All right. I believe that is the extent of the issues that are before the court. Do you have any additional information that you'd like to offer to the court as it relates to this case?
No, just I want my daughter back home.
And as it relates to your daughter leaving, you said that you haven't necessarily taken any steps through the court to have the child return back home. Is that correct?
That's correct. I did not go to the court to get an enforcement.
And did you contact the police to have the child return home?
Yes, I did.
And what happened with that?
I called Saxe Police Department, which is where I was residing, and they basically told me that they could do nothing because there could possibly be another custody agreement that they don't know about. But what I was told from someone else is that I could go actually to the Louisville Police Department and then get them to enforce the order. But I didn't want to involve the police and like traumatize Francesca or like make the situation more dramatic than it has to be. I would like for him just to take the necessary steps to bring her back home.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Just one moment. I'm sorry, no further question for this party, Your Honor. At this time, Your Honor, the state would like to call the father in this matter. Sir, can I get you to unmute yourself and state your name for the record?
My name is Lonnie Mims.
And Mr. Mims, did you hear what I previously read into the record that was agreed to by the parties?
Are you talking about those?
Sir, are you in agreement that there should be no geographical restrictions?
Correct. Agree with that. Yes.
Are you in agreement that there has been no issue relating to family violence?
Correct.
And are you in agreement for the non-disclosure to continue into this matter?
Correct.
As it relates to the child, Dominic, that child is currently residing with you, is that correct?
Yes.
And the child, Francesca, she is currently residing with you as well, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long has Dominic been residing with you, sir?
In October the 11th.
Of what year, sir?
I'm sorry? Oh, 2023.
And as it relates to the child, Francesca, how long has that child been residing with you?
January of 2023.
2023 or 2024, sir?
I apologize. 2024. My apologies.
And did the child run away and begin living with you?
No. There was a call that was made to me from her at night, just due to a lot of the activity that goes on at her house. And me, as you know, all parents protect their kids that we're supposed to do. So the stuff that she exposed to me was concerning. And she asked me if I could pick her up from school because she had a mental breakdown. So when I picked her up from school, I gave her the weekend to relax before I asked her what's going on, because you just can't say you can't go back home. It doesn't work like that. So I asked her to write what was the concern was before she go home, so I know. And what she wrote down, if y'all like me to explain what she wrote down, on the reason why I kept her, and I called all the necessary police departments, they told me to protect my kid.
All right, and just to confirm, sir, the mother never gave you permission to get the child, is that correct?
Correct, but I do get them every weekend, though. Every weekend, there's already an understanding that I pick them up every weekend.
And has the mother attempted to get the child placed back into her home?
She has called the child, and we talked, a couple times. We both could not come on an agreement.
And as it relates to, give me just one second here. As it relates to the child, Francesca, that child is currently in school in Louisville with the other child here in this matter. Is that correct?
Correct. They both are attending schools local.
Okay. As it relates to the insurance, how are the children currently receiving insurance? Is it through the state or through your employer?
So as of right now, I did have Dominic on my Lowe's insurance, but I just got something in the mail that says that it's off. I just told the lady today that I was waiting to this court appointment date. My job is literally across the street. We had so many CPS cases in the past to where they end up going back. So I didn't want to put them on and have them go back. So I want you guys to know after this day or whatever is going on today is going to let me know that I need to put them on there because I can only do it on life-changing events, as you guys know. This right here is considered a life-changing event. So as of now, they're still on the state insurance. Dominic is on my dental insurance.
And based off of your current employment, sir, with a gross income of about $4,333.33, which is based off of you working at $25 an hour at 36 hours per week, the state will request that you pay a total of $390 per month if the children continue on state medical. Are you in agreement to pay that amount, sir?
I do not agree with that because after this, it will be covered on me. I will have that 100% covered without no problems.
All right, so do you know the costs associated with the children being covered through your employer?
I don't have a total cost of both of them combined. I just only have a cost for just me and Dominic at this point. As I was saying, I was waiting to this court date to move forward with getting them both covered.
So you don't know if the medical support would be higher or lower than the proposed amount of $390 for state medical?
Correct. I don't know, but it's since Lowe's is a large company that most likely would be a lower fee than that, but I will most likely get that today.
All right, sir. The state has calculated that if the child was to be returned back to the mother, the child Francesca, that child support should be set at $893 per month. Are you in agreement to that amount, sir?
This is when a lawyer would have been an absolutely great investment. And when I utilize the term investment, I'm saying that strategically, because an investment is something that can cost a lot of money, but you're looking for the returns on that investment. A lot of people just look at lawyers as a money sink, but in this case, what the lawyer would have done is fought for child support from the mother. And that extra child support can go to things within the children's life, allowing him to earmark more money for the arrears that he's currently in.
That was when the lady that, before this phone call, she told me that that was a combination.
Would you be in agreement to the $893 that's been proposed?
No.
What are you requesting that child support be set at, sir?
My goal is to get my kids, so I'm not expecting a child support.
And just to confirm, you're stating that your request is that child support be set at $0 and that the children continue to reside with you. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
And as it relates to the arrears, were you able to view the pay record that was presented to the court previously?
Yes.
And sir, on that pay record, according to what's been provided, the state has calculated that as of March 31st, 2024, that the child support arrears in this matter are at $15,924.47. Are you in agreement that those are the arrears that are currently owed?
I don't agree, but it is what it is. I know what the state told me I have to pay. So based off that, that is valid.
All right, sir. And as it relates to those arrears, you are requesting possession credits for the time frame to which the children were residing with you, which would be 6 months of credit. Is that correct?
Yes.
If the court was to apply 6 months of credit, that would be a total of $3,384, which will set the arrears for $13,104.47, to which the state will request that you pay a total of $130 per month. Again, those would be child support arrears in the amount of $13,104.47 to be paid at $130 per month. Are you in agreement to that amount, sir?
Yes.
And as it relates to the conservatorship, are you in agreement to the parties being named as joint managing conservators?
I don't want joint.
Are you requesting that the mother be named as a sole managing conservator?
I want to be the sole managing conservator of both kids.
All right, sir. And are you in agreement to the mother having a standard visitation agreement with the child Dominic?
Yes.
And if the child Francesca is to be placed back with the mother, are you in agreement to the that you would have a standard visitation agreement with the child Francesca?
Of course. When it comes down to kids, yes, no matter what it is for them.
All right, just 1 second. And would you be in agreement to the pickup and drop off to take place at the Walmart located at 425 Court Road in Plano?
Wherever it is, yes, especially for the kids.
All right. And do you understand that the state is requesting that you pay the court costs associated with this matter today?
I do not agree with that.
And could you explain to the court why you're not in agreement to paying the court costs associated with this matter?
If we look at how things are for Mills in this situation, I've just been through a difficult process with paying all these fees, all telling me what I owe for my kids, and I have a majority of the time. And then on top of that, the fees is just, I don't see how I'll be able to live my life with that, to be honest.
Notice there that Lonnie alluded to not agreeing with the amount of the back child support, but he also says that's what the state says. Y'all must understand that regardless how much that you're actually paying in reality or how much that the kids are actually with you in reality, within the courtroom, you just become a math equation. I mean, he makes reference to how males are treated and how he should not be paying court fees. Again, a lot of this BS that he's currently experiencing would be alleviated if he had a good lawyer. The lawyer would fight the back child support. The lawyer would fight for the court fees. The lawyer would fight for him paying $900 in child support or him getting paid for the child support from the mother.
And sir, as it relates to you stating that you having the children, do you understand that per your testimony today that you've only had the children for about the past 6 months? However, there are other additional fees that were associated with amounts to which you did not pay the child support as previously ordered?
I do understand what y'all have on paper, but Gina and myself know how often I get those kids every weekend and every holiday. That's not on paper.
And did the prior order provide that you should be able to visit with the children during that time frame, sir?
The court order told us that we can come up with our own arrangements. If we start to have problems, then we will go back to the court order documents. And that's what we have done up until this point.
And the child support that was previously calculated, sir, at $893 was if both children were to reside with the mother. And it's my understanding that you are not in agreement to that amount. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if just the one child, Miss Francesca, was to reside with the mother, the state will request that you pay child support in the amount of $542 per month. Would you be in agreement to that amount, sir?
I disagree with that as well.
All right. And then just to confirm, you are requesting that child support just be set at $0 and the children continue to reside with you. Is that correct?
I want my kids. She can have the back child support. I pay the court fees. I just want my children.
Now, at this point, Lonnie has clearly stated his position, but he's about to drop a bomb in regards to the mother.
Do you have any additional information that you would like to offer to the court as it relates to this case, sir?
The only thing I do have is a text message from her telling me 3 times that I can keep my kids and stay out of her life and she don't want them. I've been trying to get my kids for years. I've been going up and down with this over child support. I don't care about the money. I care about my kids' mental health and their school and their life. That's it. This woman has already exposed that she don't want them to me. I wish I can show y'all guys these messages that I have. I would print them up if I have to. But she exposed that I need to get them and stay out of her life. That's what I want today. If I need to pay Jack child support, she can have that. I just want my kids.
Okay. Nothing further from this party, Your Honor.
More proof that she just wants the child for a check. To text the father that you don't want either of the children, but to be in court putting him through this shit is nasty work.
All right, I'm going to make some changes here, but y'all don't have a very simple case, so it's going to look a little unusual, I guess. But All right, so we're doing the parts y'all agreed to, those are fine, which were there's been no family violence within the last 2 years. Non-disclosures are continued, which I don't really understand, but that's something y'all agreed to. Y'all need to figure out how to communicate better. There's no reason probably for a non-disclosure at this time, but I'll go ahead and do that since y'all agreed to that. I don't understand why there's no geographic restriction, but that's something you agreed to, so I'll leave that in. I'm ordering Mr. Mims to provide health insurance for both of the children immediately. I'm not ordering a medical support payment because the court order will get sent to your employer, and that'll be a life-changing event so that you can add the children, both of the children, on your insurance. Give a copy of the health insurance card to Ms. Tedora so she can have it when the children are in her possession. Child support arrears after possession credits. And just let me just start here, I guess. I'm not, if the children have if only one of the two children have lived with the father, then there's no reason why a child support should be paid for either one. If that's the case. So I'm trying to do what's fair here. I'm doing a credit for him from the date that he had Dominic, because at that point y'all were splitting the two, and so it's really irrelevant as to when Francesca went to live with him, at least as far as the arrears are concerned, because y'all are splitting half and half, and neither one of you should have been paying each other at that point. So I'm trying to go back in time a little bit as best I can. So the judgment for child support arrears are $13,104.47. I'm ordering that to be paid at $200 a month instead of, I think it was $130 was mentioned, but that needs to be paid at $200 a month. That's going to be pretty much our only obligation here. So you can pay those arrears off. You shouldn't owe any arrears at all if you're doing what you're supposed to. We should really be talking about it being a zero balance, but unfortunately you didn't make all your payments, a significant amount of your payments. Please don't talk while I'm talking. So you have to pay back what's owed. Otherwise we'd be talking about zero being owed. So that's what we got to do to fix that part. There's been no legal steps to get either of the children to go back with you, Ms. Tedora. So I don't understand why you haven't done that. There are ways to get that done. You've chosen not to.
Yes, Your Honor. Please understand, I have a child with disability.
I'm not asking. It's just a fact. You haven't filed anything. You can give me every excuse in the world, but there's been no legal steps taken. You said in your testimony you chose not to. So there hasn't been anything done as far as that concerned. So I've got to make some fixes here. Either way.
The more that I watch cases like this, the more that I've noticed that the men are often quiet, they're often polite, but without fail, we see the women, the mothers, get reprimanded from the judge for speaking out of turn.
If Mr. Mims has both of the children, or if he only has one of the children and Francesca goes back to live with mom, there shouldn't be any child support owed from either of you. So I'm stopping Mr. Mims' child support. I'm not ordering you, Ms. Tedora, to pay child support at this time, but that's something we could explore again in the future with any future motions. Since we're kind of unsure what's going to happen with Francesca, then that's kind of why I'm doing that today. Otherwise, I would probably put Ms. Tedora on child support. So if that's something you want to explore, you can. But it hasn't been 6 months as of today for Francesca, so and it's pretty close on Dominic, but that's enough time at least for me to make these orders today. So I'm not doing any child support from either one of you. The children need to be with each other, and they need to be with both of you. So we're doing visitation for the first and third weekends with mother. For both kids, they're going to go with Ms. Tedora, and then both of the kids are going to go to father on the second and fourth weekend. So y'all are going to be splitting every other weekend with both of the kids, so the kids can be together and they can be with both parents. And so that, or if y'all want to just do every other weekend, if that's easier than counting up when the first weekend is and all that, you can do that. But they need to be together as well if Francisco was to come back to live with Mr. Dora. So kind of making a plan here that's probably what's going to happen, but I don't know for sure. I can't tell you what's going to happen 3 months from now. So we'll see. Let's see. I said earlier, we're not doing medical support from the father, and we're not doing child support. court cost, if any, are billed to Mr. Mims. Mr. Tatum, did I miss anything there that I need to add to the ruling?
No, Your Honor, I believe that is everything. I'm just running through it as well. Got conservatorship, I think we didn't address.
Yeah, conservatorship for Dominic is going to be with Mr. Mims. So have joint managed conservatorship with primary custody for Dominic only. I'm not making any orders as to Francesca today since she hasn't been there for a significant period of time as of today. So that I'm just leaving that I'm not making any new orders on that part for Francesca.
That'll be it, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. That they're gonna need some time to draft the order. That's an unusual order, as I said to you earlier. Trying to fix things as best we can under the circumstances. If either one of you want to file further legal papers, that might be more appropriate. I'm not sure if we need it to be done now or it needs to be done maybe after Francesca's been with the father for 6 months, or if you want the child to be returned immediately or whenever that is. That's something both of y'all individually need to decide as far as what legal actions need to be taken. I'm trying to make as fair an agreement as of where we are today. May not be the same in a couple months, so I don't know, but I'm trying to make the best fixes we can. All right, I understand y'all may not agree with my ruling, but that's what I think is fair, and that's what we're going to do. And then y'all are welcome to file any other legal proceedings in the future. All right, y'all are done with court. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
All right, so he doesn't have to pay child support after all of that, which means he wins, right? Well, again, kind of. He should be the one receiving the $900 in child support. If she makes as much money as what he does, he should be receiving the $900 in child support. For all my G's out there that are listening to me, listen, there is no loss of pride from requesting money from a woman in a case like this. As men, we've been conditioned to not accept help, especially from a woman, but trust and believe that without fail, they will request it from you, whether you like it or not. But shout out to Brother Lonnie for being a proud father that steps up when the children need it. It's clear in hearing just a little bit of what the daughter was. First of all, the son is months ago was like, see ya. I'm out of here. Mama's crazy. And then the daughter a couple of months later has fallen suit. But I can only imagine when the father describes a mental breakdown, what is going on in the mother's home, and the fact that the mother didn't want the son. It's just, there's so much going on here behind the scenes. But the common thread that I see within these cases is what happens to these men when they do not have a lawyer. Either they're getting shafted, they're getting disrespected by the judge amongst all people, or they're not getting awarded what is owed to them simply out of ignorance, not knowing. Hire a lawyer, gents.
So the child is living with you, Miss Wilson?
He's currently at his.
Ma'am, I need a yes or no. Is the child living with you?
He is not here currently, no.
Okay. How long has he not been living with you?
Since, I want to say January, December.
December or January. Okay.
Yeah. And he was.
And what did you do to get your child? What did you try to do to get your child back?
I called the police. They said their hands are tied. I'm going to have to take him to court. So that's what I did.
Moving out of my
Why
parents'
did you
house.
make that decision to just take your son, Mr. Navarro?
The final straw was she had just gone to jail for assault or attempted assault with a knife on her boyfriend or her mother's boyfriend. And she did that while my son was present and her other son as well, her newborn.
Interesting court case that I have for you guys today, as it involves child custody as well as child support. Now, what makes this interesting is that the mother previously filed for child support, denoting that she has custody of the child, but we find out that the father has had custody of the child for the past 6 months. And although she's petitioned the court for child support, the judge in this case is going to see it another way. We're going to hear allegations about aggressive behavior, allegations about violence, and we're also going to hear a father attempt to save their child from the situation or the environment that the mother is in. Let's get active on this one. Without further ado,
I think there's some disagreement as to where exactly the child lives. I think we just kind of need a determination on who is primary, and then I think we can actually send this back for some more negotiation.
Okay. Where does the child live, Miss Wilson?
He is supposed to be living with me, Since I filed for child support and a custody arrangement, because there's been too many like disagreements between me and his father, he withdrew him from school and has kept him since this case has been pending. He's 5 years old and he did not enroll him in any other school. So now he's going to have to repeat the grade level.
Okay. So the child is living with you, Miss Wilson?
He's currently at his.
Ma'am, I need a yes or no. Is the child living with you?
He is not here currently, no.
Okay. How long has he not been living with you?
Since, I want to say January, December.
December or January. Okay.
Yeah. And he was.
And what did you do to get your child? What did you try to do to get your child back?
I called the police. They said their hands are tied. I'm going to have to take him to court. So that's what I did.
Okay. So you took him to court. When did you take him to court?
Right now, I filed to.
So you didn't do anything since December or January. You called the police. The police told you that.
I did not know where he was. He left. I had no clue where my child is.
The police told you it was a civil matter and y'all need to go to court, right?
Yes. So I was trying to get an attorney and I reached out to legal aid and then I filed for child support and.
Hopefully you guys caught that. So she filed for child support when she didn't have the child in her possession. And that although she called the cops in that 6 months, she had not done anything else in order to get custody back. Also take note that while in the father's possession, now the child has to repeat a grade because they were never enrolled in school. Let's continue.
So what did legal aid do when you talked to them?
They kind of messed up my paperwork. Because I did not know where his address was, so they could not serve him. I recently found out where his address is. So now that he's been served, they finally said that they don't know if they can represent me until the end of the week because they've been messing my paper, basically.
Okay. All right, Mr. Navarro, how did you come into possession?
So we've heard the mother's side of the story that paints her as the victim in this situation. The father is going to paint a far different picture, but also take note to the court reporter. To you, Quinlan Jones, you were the most unprofessional court reporter I have ever seen. You should not be shaking your head or making EU gestures when you hear something. Your bias is showing.
Of the child.
About December, it was December 19th. The day of my son's birthday, I made the decision of just taking my son and moving out of my parents'
Why did you
house.
make that decision to just take your son, Mr. Navarro?
Continue to keep your eye on her because she's going to get worse.
Just because of a number of things that had already been piling up. But the final straw was...
What things? What things?
Well, the final straw was she had just gone to jail for assault or attempted assault with a knife on her boyfriend or her mother's boyfriend, and she did that while my son was present and her other son as well, her newborn. And then
so did she go to jail?
Yes, she did, and she went back as soon as she got back out for another altercation that I guess went on.
Okay, so you rescued the child. That's how you came into possession of the child.
Yes, sir. And it's also a number of things. If you are okay with me listing all of that,
I'm listening to you, sir.
Well, since we had our she was around his first few months of life, but then we ended up splitting up. And right after that, she just was in and out. She was dumping him on me on days I was supposed to have him so she could go out. And then it slowly found its way to, she just left. I guess she had stuff going on with her family. She was the main cause of a lot of the problems that she was having within her household. So I guess her mom gave her the option.
Let me say this, Mr. Navarro. I have problems with people who blame everything on the other person. Everybody is at fault. So she couldn't have done everything.
At that point, it pretty much was just that, just her not wanting to be around and her problems that she had within her family. And she ended up leaving to Kansas. There was I don't believe that I did anything to make that happen at all.
So now the judge in this case, Judge George Collins, I'll just chalk it up to him having an extremely bad day because I've seen him do certain cases before and really hold people's feet to the fire. But the young man just made allegations in regarding to how much of a menace that this woman is, and she has yet to refute any of the things that he is saying, but you're making him look like a component of the bad guy. Sounds like she has the potentiality and the track record of being violent, and him trying to be the upstanding father that he claims to be went in and saved the child.
The child's been with you since January.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to leave the child with Mr. Navarro. Now you can send them back to work out anything else they want to do.
Okay, thank you.
May I speak?
Sure.
I have not abandoned my child. I have always been in my child's life.
No one said you abandoned your child, Miss Wilson. The problem is that the child has been with him for 6 months because the child, the family code says if the child has been with him for 6 months, then you are going to have, I'm going to have to leave the child with him. Then y'all can go to the district court and work out whatever conservatorship things you need to do. But both of you are going to have attorneys for that.
Okay, and can I request for a temporary order?
Sure. I'm sure that's what they're going to do anyway when they go back and talk to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
I've done a ton of these court videos at this case, and it is beyond rare to have a judge say, leave him with the father. Now, the law is one thing, but I think that the judge is making an in-the-moment decision as well as to his opinion regarding the allegations against the mother and adding on that she barely did anything for 6 months, not exhausting all of your options in a half of a year to get your children back may point to the direction of you not being the best parent. But at this junction, the father goes into more detail into how sinister or violent that the mother is.
Yeah.
Okay, you can put them back in the breakout room. Okay, you may continue.
So Mr. Navarro, do you believe that there's a risk that Miss Wilson might harass you or somebody who lives with you, that there might be some danger if she has access to your address and contact information?
Yes.
Why do you believe that?
There was an incident with my mother. She fist fought, kicked and scratched and bit her a few years ago. And she's also harassed my mother since I've had Ezekiel through phone calls, going to her house. And she's also harassed my wife through messaging. And they've also had a couple of altercations.
Okay. And so I guess you said there's been an incident with your wife, and your wife lives with you, I assume?
Yes. And
does your mother live with you?
No.
Okay. So what exactly happened when you say there was an altercation between her and your wife?
We're just 2 years of just back and forth, and it turned into her coming at my wife about fighting, and them just having, and then my wife blocked her, and she's made a fake account, and since then she's been lurking on her social media pages, and that's about all of that.
Okay. I apologize. There's someone in my house right now. If I could just close the door to reduce the noise a little bit. Okay, sorry about that.
Yes. She's also had other altercations with her mother that led her to be arrested, and an altercation with her other son's father that also got her arrested.
And do you have any sort of reason to believe that she might try to show up at your house uninvited if she knows where you live?
Yes.
Has she ever done that before?
Yeah, when I was living with my mother, yes.
Are you asking that she have a non-expanded standard possession order?
Yes, just the regular standard.
Okay. And why is it that you don't want her to have the expanded?
I just would rather, it's just really just preference.
Okay. Do you understand that with the normal extended possession order that that you and her wouldn't have to interact as much, that if
yeah.
Most days she'd pick her up from school?
I would just rather be the one to pick him up and drop him off to school, just to kind of keep that standard and routine for him.
State has calculated a proposed child support amount of $294 per month with medical support at $96 per month. Would you be in agreement with those amounts?
Yes.
She's only like 19 years old, multiple baby daddies, baby mama drama between the baby daddies, violence, aggression, no scenario that a children should be raised in.
Okay. Are you in agreement? Do you have any insurance available through your employment?
No.
Are you in agreement to an order which provides that you would apply for government health insurance?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And I don't know if the judge is going to end up doing a temporary or a final order today, but if the judge does do a final order, would you be in agreement with our the state's calculation of retroactive child support at $11,760, which accounts for that's basically the last 4 years minus 12 months where y'all had a 50-50 possession schedule?
Yes.
Then would you be in agreement to have that amount paid off at $109 per month?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you're going to bring to the court's attention?
I would really much prefer it to be a final court date right now, just because of so many things that have already happened, and I feel like for us to just make it temporary, it just costs us a lot of money to probably most likely be the same result of me maintaining custody. She's tried to commit suicide on multiple occasions of Ezekiel's life. The assault has always been a big thing. That's why I made the decision of taking my son away from that lifestyle, just because all these things were going on in front of him since he was 2 years old. I had to go pick him up because her and her mom just got into it. There's broken glass all over around my toddler. He's right next to it, and I just didn't want my son to have to grow up in such a toxic household. And then it's just been a number of things. We haven't been able to at all come to any sorts of agreements, not even all the way down to tax money. For the first couple of years of my son's life, her mother was claiming him without letting us know anything. And then
this court reporter is the absolute worst. Editor, replay that section again. What in the ratchet DEI hire is going on here?
Once was gone in Kansas, she left for, I think it was a little over 6 months. And when she did return, we didn't even know. And I can have my mom back that up. And when she did come back around, she slowly made her way into Ezekiel's life again. And I understand that she had a lot going on, but it is a lot of bridges that she burned herself. And I know that with everything that I've had going on in my life, I've never once left my son. He's been with me since the day he was born. It's 5 years, almost 6 now.
And I think there's one agreement that the two of y'all reached, and that's to have communications about your child take place on AppClose. Is that correct?
On what did you say? Sorry.
AppClose, it's a co-parenting app that
Oh, I guess they told her that. I haven't heard anything of that.
Okay. So I guess if you're asking that your contact information be left out, would you also be asking, I guess that's kind of an alternate way that you would have of being able to communicate with Miss Wilson?
Mm-hmm. Well, if this were to be a final hearing, I'd be fine disclosing my information to her and just contacting through cell phone. But if it is going to be a temporary, I'd rather do that and have the non-disclosure.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right.
Say we call the mother, Miss Wilson.
Yes.
Miss Wilson, do you believe that you and the father can work together to make decisions regarding the child?
I don't know. I've been co-parenting basically with his mother the past 5 years. Ever since he's turned 18, it's been a terrible experience since me and him have communicated on our own. He's very aggressive. He's constantly calling me out my name, cussing me out. Like the reason why he took him recently is because I was out with COVID and over a backpack that I forgot to drop off to him that I said I would bring to his school. That's what this is all about, over a backpack. The incident he's speaking of, I called the police because somebody put their hands on me, and this is in October. This has nothing to do with recently.
And that was kind of going to be my next series of questions. So has there been family violence between you and Mr. Navarro?
There has. And then his mother put his hands on me. There's a police statement with him as a witness telling the police that she hit me first when I
specifically what I'm asking is if he's ever tried to harm you. And we can talk about those other issues here in a second, but I just want to...
Yes, he's tried to put me in front of the car on the sidewalk. He's choked me. He slammed me. He's never actually like slapped me or punched me, but it's just like little stuff like that. I don't know if you consider that little, but stuff like that. And it was like, wasn't all the time because we were young. We were in his parents' house. So obviously we can't just be wilding out in there. But yeah, there has been, but that hasn't been in the past 4 years. That was the first year of my son's life.
Interesting. So she's older. She's barely an adult, but still older than him, because she says when he was underage, it was a 50-50 split. And the child now is 5 years old, which puts him at about 15-ish years old when the child was born. Babies raising babies.
Based on that, are you also asking that your address be kept out of the court's out of the court record, and that you not have to provide your address to him?
Yes, and also with the altercation with his girlfriend, she attacked me twice, and the second time was in front of an officer. So y'all can pull up those records if y'all need to.
Are you currently employed, making about $100 a day, 5 days a week?
Yes.
State calculated guideline child support at $294 per month and medical support at $96. Would you be in agreement with that?
No, I want to have my son solely, or either we can share him half and half. I don't want to do that. I feel like it should be a fair agreement.
I guess, was there a time in the past that the two of you shared 50-50?
Yes, the first 3 years, the last 3 years, I've had him majority of the time, just for the fact that he was in school and he was still underage, which is understandable. When we were both still in school, I had him 1 week and then he had him 1 week.
Okay. And state calculated retroactive child support, taking off 12 months out of the last 4 years at $11,760. Would you be in agreement with that amount?
No.
And why is that?
Because I have always supported my child. I have been working because my family owned a business around that time. I have been working since I've been 12 years old. I've solely supported my child since day one. He hasn't even had a job since then. I can't blame him, because at the end of the day, we were underage when we had our child, but I have always supported my child. So no, I'm not in agreement of that.
All right.
Also, I wanted, if this is a temporary order for now, I do want the expanded custody for now until we have a next hearing for the actual permanent order.
Is there anything else you want to bring to the court's attention?
Yes. The only reason he's been over there for 6 months is because I seen them in Oklahoma. He took him out of state without my permission. Also, it's been a long process for y'all to process this case. So that also racked up months on there as well. I did not wait 6 months to act on to get my child back. I took immediate action. I called the police. I've been trying to find where he lives. I already know where he lives. Like I didn't even go out of I've seen my child over there. I watch him from a distance, because there's domestic abuse in his household where he's beating his girlfriend. I don't know if he's doing it while my child is there or not, but I don't want that around my child either.
Now, what's interesting is that when she describes what was going on in those 6 months, she at first says that I didn't know where he was. But then in the very next sentence, she says, I knew where he was. And not only just that, but I would watch him. And then in the middle of that sentence, she switches to, and he also shouldn't be over there because it's an abusive household. The constant switching and the unclear dialogue, the inconsistency of thought and the switching of stories is reducing her believability. So I think that the judge made the right decision here.
He has a history of abuse. So does his parents while I was present. I've also had to help his mom pick up glass the next day from his father beating her. So his life is not perfect. I don't know why they try to make it seem like that, but.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. I need both of you. I need you to unmute yourself, Mr. Navarro, because I need both of you. Okay, I'm entering a temporary order. I am finding that I'm granting the non-disclosure. You don't have to give your addresses. But I am going to order that Ms. Wilson pay child support in the amount of $294 a month beginning on September the 1st, and that she pay cash medical of $96 a month beginning September the 1st. I am not going to rule on the retroactive child support. I'll leave that for the district court. I am going to grant the visitation standard. But both of you need to do, you can do this 3-day and get a new hearing. You can appeal but you can do it within the next 3 days, and you'll get a trial de novo, and that court will tell you, will make a decision that is independent of the decision that I'm making today. This is out of the 256th court. You have 3 days to appeal to that court.
So the judge rules that custody stays predominantly with the father and that the mother will have to pay child support in the amount of $294. She does have the opportunity to appeal within the district court, but for right now, a win's a win. You could tell by the still that she's none too happy. Let's let the judge finish up.
Now, having said that, let me say this. Both of you, if you're going to contest custody, need to hire attorneys so that they can put forth your claim or what you think should happen. And both of you seem to have had a lot of underlying issues. So you're probably going to need somebody who's going to be able to tell your story a lot more clearly than the two of you have told it so far. Now, Mr. Wright is going to email you a copy of this order. It's going to find that Mr. Navarro is going to be the primary caregiver of the child. Both of you are going to share that information, share that jointly. This is going to be joint managing conservatorship. I'm going to grant the non-disclosure. I'm going to order the child support and the cash medical support, but both of you need to appeal if you want to get custody of the child, okay?
I do have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
To appeal, do I need to go down to the courthouse and do that, or do I do it online?
I'm not sure about the online, but I'm pretty sure you could do it without going down to the courthouse. Mr. Wright, would you make sure that they get a copy of the information on how to appeal?
I'm not sure we have like an official publication on that, but I mean, I can just make sure that that's included with.
All right,
with this
send it to both of them. Send it to both of them.
And real quick, Your Honor, if I can say, there is no domestic violence going on within my household. Within my parents, that was not going.
Sir, that's the reason why this is a temporary order. You get to tell your whole story. You get to tell it the way you want to tell it. Okay?
Also, so on you said the standard, so that's not expanded?
No,
so
that's not expanded. That is regular child support from 6 o'clock on Friday till 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay, and I get him on Thursday from 6 to 8.
That's correct.
So are you putting this in order today in order for me to go pick him up today?
I don't know. Mr. Wright, are you going to be able to get this order out today?
I don't know if it'll be today, but yeah, it'll be soon. So I mean, if we need it today, I can try to get it today.
Okay, can y'all, is it okay for me to come pick him up from the Chick-fil-A today?
Not unless you have the order. I want you to have the order, so in the event something goes wrong, you can show the police that you have the right to have possession of the child.
Okay, so I'll meet you there at 6 if we do receive the order today in time.
Right. I'm sure it's an email, so it shouldn't take but a few clicks for him to be able to get that to you.
Okay. I'm going to make sure I follow up with this case because I want to see the result within the district court. But what are the lessons to learn? Number one, reason number 4,762 as to why not being emotional or reactionary, that's probably more accurate, within your lives will lead to a better life. The young lady, you can tell, has had a very reactionary life that's been filled with a lot of drama and violence and clapping back at somebody. And because the father was able to demonstrate those things and clearly speak through it, it aided in him being able to, at least for the temporary, keep primary custody of their child. The second thing is, and this is contrary to popular belief, but men are awarded primary custody. This is your example. To all the fathers out there that think that their particular case is a done deal, especially when you involve a lawyer, well, here goes a case. Although I still think that it is largely dependent upon the judge presiding over the issue. I think the father here should definitely heed the warning to come prepared to district court with a lawyer, because there is a high likelihood that he may not come across a judge that prioritizes a father being in a child's life, and this can go completely differently. So at least you have a professional fighter that knows the law to help defend you.
You don't want to see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big guy, the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. Dead bars, need defibrillation ASAP. Get boxed with a straight gap. I'm reminded of mind state they lack. Every time that they climb, we go way back. All they wanna be is just